If you score in all likelihood, and perhaps the CFP. Jackson trying to turn the corner, and he did not get there. Darren McVay raced him to the pylon and made sure he came up inches short.
Live from the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, this is Sikkim 365 Radio.
A lot of window dressing here on 2nd and goal. Smith comes back into the backfield. They run Bohannon with blockers in front and into the end zone. Gary Bohannon.
Our Sugar Bowl coverage is brought to you by Ideal MRI, Edward Jones Investments agents Ben Erlinson, Tom Albers, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. The Willis Law Firm. American Bank, Pioneer Steel and Pipe, Genco Federal Credit Union, Camille Johnson Realtors, Automatic Chef Canteen, BetUS.com, Coach's XXX Smoke Barbecue, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, Allen Samuels Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat.
First down, Smith with running room. Abram Smith picking him up, puts him down. Abram Smith down inside the 10.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
Well, good afternoon again on this Thursday, the eve of New Year's Eve in New Orleans, Louisiana, Sugar Bowl, Saturday night, Baylor and Ole Miss. And we will hear from Baylor's defensive coordinator, Ron Roberts, today, and also Jeff Lebby, former Baylor assistant coach, who's now the offensive coordinator for Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. He was a part of media sessions today. Paul Catalina is to my left, to my right, Craig Smoak, and in the background, I'm about to put up a picture of the two MVPs in Armstrong Sims and Jack McKenzie, who drove down here yesterday. We've been through that story. Right now, Tennessee leads Purdue 21-7. You had a bowl game going on right now. South Carolina and Shane Beamer hammered Mac Brown in North Carolina 38-21. Well, also today, an incredible day for Sikkim 365 overall. The release of the trailer of Ode to Joy about the Baylor Men's Basketball National Championship and really just how it all came together. We'll have that trailer today at 4 o'clock, and then Lisa Adams, who's a senior producer, will join us a little bit after that to discuss kind of some of the details. And on SicEm365.com, there is a list of all of the various showings that will be throughout the state of Texas and others that will be added along the way. Again, it's unbelievable. It will give you goosebumps if you're a Baylor fan or not, just because I love things like that, stories and documentaries like this. Hey, let me ask you this. Who's been more disappointing this year? Iowa State, 7-6, losing last night to Clemson. North Carolina, they started in the top 10 as well. Let's not forget that. They finished 6-7. And Texas, who, of course, we know was 5-7.
Well, I would rank them this way. I would rank them 1, Texas, because it was maybe the most disappointing season in school history, and they were a hair's breadth away from being 4-8 and not 5-7, which would have been even worse. And then Iowa State, who should have, based on everything on their roster, been contending for the Big 12 title all season long, and midway through the season they were out of it. And then North Carolina, who I think was just, everybody was excited about Sam Howell, but didn't really look too deep on that roster past him.
I mean, Texas didn't, make a bowl game, so I think they have to be number one. I mean, at least the other teams played in the postseason. Texas didn't even really sniff the Big 12 title race, and I guess the other two, maybe had their moments, but not really. I mean, North Carolina, though, they started off with top 5 in the country.
In some cases, yes.
Yeah, in some polls, and if not top 5 in some polls, they were top 10-ish or what have you, and they were pretty much an afterthought after the first couple of weeks of the season, to be honest with you. I mean, in terms of that, in terms of rankings and being in the mix and all of that, North Carolina wasn't a team that I, really paid too much attention to or felt I needed to, quite frankly. So, yeah, I'd say, Texas because they didn't make the postseason, North Carolina because they actually were, expected to be better than Iowa State in some cases, depending on what poll you looked at. But I think you're splitting hairs with North Carolina and Iowa State. Iowa State last night, that was a really tough loss. That was Brock Purdy, showing the good, the bad, and the ugly of Brock Purdy and kind of his entire career at Iowa State. They got down big early, looked like they were going to get their butts kicked, and to their credit, they fought back. Clemson was quite shorthanded, but as we were going on a rant yesterday, South Carolina went out and won without a quarterback, basically, right?
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
So, if you're a North Carolina fan, you could be like, well, that doesn't matter. But if you're a South Carolina fan, are you worried about who North Carolina was missing, or are you celebrating the fact that you went and got an unexpected bowl win? So that's what I was kind of talking about yesterday. So, I'd say Iowa State and North Carolina probably started off in some similar spots, but you can't help but be a little bit disappointed when you finish 7-6 with the greatest team you were ever supposed to have in program history, which is what we kind of, were told with Iowa State, or expected with Iowa State, and then that didn't turn out to be the case. B.R. James on the chat room. Again, chat room's open on YouTube, 365 Sports. Also, text line open at 254-339-1122. Please say it again. Texas didn't make a bowl game. They didn't make a bowl game.
And that's still hard to imagine. And as Paul mentioned, an eyelash away from finishing at 4-8. But, again, they have all the new weapons and transfer and all that stuff and another recruiting class. And so they'll be ranked in the top 25 most likely to start next year. And that's just kind of like clockwork. From John Hammond, what on earth is going on, and what's going to happen to all these players in the transfer portal? There are so many, and a lot of them won't end up anywhere. You hear about the names that end up at places, the transfers, but there's so many that don't end up anywhere. In fact, right now we're joined by Baylor's Director of Athletics, Mac Rhodes. He's at Baylor's practice going on, and he told me, he said, I haven't been on with you guys in a week, and I demand to be on. And so
that's exactly how it went down.
That's exactly how it went down. And then Jovan asked me to make sure that you were on because you had been complaining about the fact you had not been on with us before the end of the year. Now, so you're at practice. Everything's kind of going pretty well. You've seen some games, and I know you have to cross your fingers in this day and age of everything with testing, but everything right now seemed to be going according to plan?
Yeah, so far so good. We're sitting here on the Tulane University campus at Yeoman Stadium and having a great practice, and we've been able to manage the COVID piece fairly well. Not going to say that we haven't been impacted, but I think we're in a really good place right now.
Obviously it doesn't matter if it happens between now and Saturday because it's less than 5 days, but has the CDC's new guidelines helped anything out? Or is that maybe something that's going to be maybe for basketball and spring sports moving from 10 days down to 5?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and yes, it has. With football and it will with basketball. Both programs, both men and women. So, it's I guess for lack of a better way of saying it, it's been good timing for us in terms of the change from 10 isolation days down to 5.
Mac, what's it like to be in New Orleans just a couple years removed from your last trip in New Orleans? Different head coaches, different circumstances, different results in the Big 12 championship game, different opponent, but still a lot of excitement. Just what are your thoughts about being back in the Sugar Bowl?
One, it's great to be back, and as you all know, and I'm sure that you've been in bed by midnight all nights that you've been in New Orleans. But it's a great city. The people are wonderful, extremely welcoming, and the Sugar Bowl staff does such a great job. The staff and all of the volunteers, they just make you feel special. It doesn't matter who you are and what you do with Baylor. They go out of their way to make you feel great about being here, and to see our young men. The team is really excited. They had a bowling event last night, and again, just team only, tier 1, and I know that they were excited and had a great time, and so they're balancing. There's a time to have some fun, and then there's a time to be locked in and get some work done, and they're in the process of doing that obviously right now. But it's great to be back, and you feel blessed to be in the Sugar Bowl 2 out of the last three years. And do that, think about this, to do it with a coaching change, 2 different coaches. You feel really fortunate.
And do you feel it's a completely different atmosphere with who your coach is and what you all have been discussing, as we've asked you and you've discussed with us on this show? And it doesn't, whatever happens Saturday night is whatever the football players do and what the staff, but there's no circles of any type of uncertainty.
Yeah, no, it is different in that respect, and we know that whatever happens in the game, we know that Coach Aranda is going to get right back to work probably that next day or 2 days after, and be focused on Baylor. And obviously we've got to replace one position coach, and so he'll get after that. And heard you all talking about the transfer portal, and we've certainly been active right now in that, and contemplating and looking and having appropriate conversations, and that will continue and be a focus once the game's over.
Mac, is it different being in the same place 2 different times though? When you have what's overlapped to you in these last 2 times is my question.
That's a really interesting question. I'll tell you where it's different. You're in a different hotel than we were last time. You're practicing at a different location than you were last time. And so some of those things are different. Obviously the COVID's impacted it. We're not here as long as we were last time. We were supposed to come in on Monday, and we didn't come in until yesterday. And so some of the events have been canceled. So there are some differences, but the fundamental, the foundational stuff in terms of just the way the Sugar Bowl handles each team, and the volunteers, those are all familiar faces, and again, just really good people.
So, Mac, 2 years ago, you guys played for the Big 12 title and fell to Oklahoma in a thrilling, dramatic game, and went to the Sugar Bowl and fell to what was obviously a good Georgia team as well. This time around, you win the Big 12 title, and that obviously makes a major difference. How much of a major difference would be made in winning the Sugar Bowl as well and capping off a season like this with a victory like that?
Yeah, you never want to put the cart before the horse, but it would be great to win this, number one, because it's a really great opponent in Ole Miss, and they're formidable, and I think one's ranked 7 and one's 8 in the polls, and so should be a great matchup. But then you have the opportunity, right, to win 12 games. We've never done that in program history. So you have this opportunity to make history, you know, something that's never ever been done. And you know, I think that certainly that's important to coach, but not, you know, where it's been a focal point either. You know, the focal point is just getting the team prepared to play and go out and make sure that we can compete at a really, really high level, play the best that we can play, and then we'll see if it happens. So, but great opportunity for us. You know, primetime, national television, New Year's Six bowl game, great window advertisement for Baylor University, the city of Waco. So just really, really excited to represent.
You know, Mac, you were here, obviously, during the coaching transition of 2016 with what Jim Grove did, and then you got there in August of that summer. Jeff Levy, obviously this is an interesting game because of his appearance here as the offensive coordinator at Ole Miss, and he answered a couple of questions about Baylor, not about Baylor and his time there, but about playing Baylor again, and I thought he handled it very well. What do you have many recollections, and how difficult was that, knowing that he not only was involved, but so was his father-in-law and his brother-in-law as well?
Yeah, you know, I'll be really candid with you. You know, that was obviously, people know it. That was a hard time. It was a hard time for everybody, and you know, trying to figure out how we you know, work together and coexist and do that for to the very, very best ability for our student athletes. And so, you know, that September, October, November, December, you know, had some challenges. I thought that Jeff did a great job in the way he handled everything. As you mentioned, really tough position for him, you know, with Coach Briles, his father-in-law, Kendall, his son-in-law, married to Coach Briles' daughter. And so, I can't even imagine, you know, being in his shoes and trying to navigate that. But I will tell you, I thought he did it in a really professional and great way. And you know, I remember a specific conversation that him and I had alone in my office. And you know, so I'm happy for him. And you know, obviously he's a really, really good offensive coordinator and done a great job at Ole Miss, and now has a great opportunity at Oklahoma. So wish him the best, and again, have nothing but good things to say about Coach Levy.
Mac Rhodes with us, sick on 365 Radio and 365 Sports. Baylor and Ole Miss Saturday night here in New Orleans.
Mac, how much do you pay attention to what's going on as far as like bowl games, and what kind of an importance does that have in terms of the conference? Is that something where you guys are actively rooting for a great bowl record? Is it something you pay a lot of attention to, or are you mostly kind of focused on, you know, obviously the school that you're at?
Well, I know enough to know, and again, I haven't followed today, but I know enough to know that when I went to bed last night, the SEC was 0-4. So, and so I do keep track, and it is important. And you know, watched obviously the Clemson-Iowa State game with great interest. Watched, you know, the Oklahoma-Oregon game with great interest. You know, happy for, you know, Houston able to get a win, you know, obviously coming into the league, and, you know, we'll be certainly pulling for Cincinnati, you know, as a future member of the Big 12. So it's important. Anybody that says it's not, I'm not sure that they're being straight with you, because I think how conferences do in the bowl game, it creates a lot of conversation and articles thereafter as you go into the next season.
Do you have to assess them differently on now though, because of opt-outs and things like that?
Yeah, you know, it feels like you know, some of this with some games you're going to have to put a little asterisk there because of, you know, some of the players that have decided not to play, and I'll tell you this because you mentioned it. I've got great respect for the Ole Miss quarterback that he decided to play, because that could have been, you know, a young man that very easily could have said, "Hey, I'm not going to play," and so good for him. And you know, I've got great respect and admiration that that he's going to go ahead and lead his team out there on Saturday night. But it's the way of the world. Unfortunately, it's one of those things that's changing that I personally probably don't like. You get it, you understand it from the perspective of getting injured, all of those things. But I don't know. I think when you weigh those things and memories and that last time you take the field with your teammates, those are things that you're never going to get back. So I'm hoping that it doesn't get any, that there aren't more opt-outs as we continue on in future years, and that we kind of stay right about this number.
Well, Mac, we had George Teague on the show yesterday, and his Sugar Bowl performance was legendary against Miami. And he even said, he hates the opt-outs, and if his career would have been different, he would have been drafted maybe 2 rounds lower than he was had he not played in the bowl game. So maybe those things need to be conveyed to the players a little bit more. And in the new world of NIL, there might be a way of incentivizing them to play in these bowl games outside of the university anyway, won't there?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an interesting thought, because I think you potentially could do that. And unfortunately, and this is this has been part of college athletics for a while, and it's certainly not just football but other sports. You've got so many other people talking to the student athletes, and sometimes it's in the best interest of the student athlete, but other times it's not. And that's the part and the piece that I hate. And again, as you mentioned, it can cut both ways, right? You play in the bowl game, and you have a unbelievable performance, and now all of a sudden, you're in a different spot when you think about the draft, and so it can be, as you said, it can cut both ways.
All right, Mac, I know you want to enjoy the practice, and we've interrupted that.
He wants to enjoy that humidity.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Is there anything to update with us or anyone involving the conversations with Coach Aranda and the future contract change?
Thank you for asking. I appreciate the question, but we'll get it wrapped up right after the bowl game and get it signed in good place. And so, but nothing's changed. Everything is in good shape, and he's certainly focused and locked in on the game. And we'll get that taken care of immediate thereafter. And excited for both basketball programs to open up Big 12 play. You think about men's basketball at Iowa State, what a huge matchup that is. Iowa State, lights out, number 8 in the country. And somebody was telling me it's the first time 2 Big 12 teams with 10-0 better records have ever played against each other. And so that should be a heck of a matchup. And then excited for women's basketball to open up in Manhattan against Kansas State on Sunday. So a lot of good things happening.
And we released the trailer for Ode to Joy, the documentary series on Baylor and the national championship year today, in fact, on SicEm365.com. And we appreciate your time with us on that as well. Thanks for your time. We'll see you down the road here in New Orleans.
All right, you guys stay out of trouble. We'll talk to you soon.
No promises,
Bye-bye.
Mac.
He brought up the 12 o'clock in curfew. He brought up you guys stay out of trouble. And I don't know why he's talking to Craig and me. I don't at all,
Look,
in any way.
I can tell you, I was back at the hotel at 12:15 last night, and I went to the airport. I didn't go anywhere fun.
So you didn't even bother stumbling down Bourbon Street. You just drove to the airport. There's something there.
Amanda was there, and I had to, I wasn't gonna have that discussion of I'm putting her in a cab by herself at midnight in New Orleans when I could have had come and got her.
Well, given what happened around the time that you arrived last night, probably a wise idea.
Some
guys were throwing bricks through windshields or whatever it was that Craig said he was told by Curtis Quillen, who
I saw the truck today with the window bashed out, and it happened like 15 feet from where I was sitting when I was told that news, and happened like 2 minutes before I was told that news. So they very well, if I'd have taken a right and walked down, seen it in action. But I chose not to do that.
And surprisingly, that Curtis Quillen was out past midnight. That's a new thing.
Well, I had to make sure he wasn't seeing things. You know him. He's a little off the rails.
He might have been the one that created the problem.
I think last time we were here, I passed the torch to Curtis.
I think Curtis has developed this reputation now. Like he really he's had like one night where he got a little tipsy, and now it's turned into like a full blown gimmick of like, he's like the most raucous dude in New Orleans in Waco media. But yeah, I mean, somebody had to pass the torch because Q's gone. You're taking it a little easier. The young guns have to kind of step up their game. So looking at you cats
again. I feel like
represent tonight.
I'm hoping it's like Brady to Mahomes kind of a thing.
Me and Jack were both in bed at 9:30, and that is no lie.
And you were still in bed at 9:30 this morning, based on what I could tell. There was no movement.
Hey.
It's a long drive from Waco to New Orleans.
Tennessee 21-13, 8 minutes left, second quarter against Purdue. Against South Carolina, won the Duke's Mayo Bowl against North Carolina, 38-21. We're going to have to dial up that video of Shane Beamer getting doused with a cooler full of mayonnaise.
I think the better video is Dak Joyner, their impromptu quarterback, breaking down in tears. The Mayo thing, like every year, I feel like the media grabs onto something and they just like pump it up and pump it up and pump it up. And like the Mayo thing, by the time it happened, I was just like, okay, good. I'm glad it's over with. Yeah. Like, I mean, I get it. I get the fun in it. But then I saw the video and I was like, that's what y'all talked about for like 3.5 days over and over again, was that moment right there.
The fun for me was torturing your sister over.
Yeah, that was fun. About it. Yeah, but, the actual payoff was just kind of like whatever. Well, the game itself and what Dak Joyner did and his post-game interview where he had to just sit there and cry for a moment because of all the emotions that went into, having to play quarterback and all that. I thought that was well. I thought that was probably the best video. But yeah, I know a lot of people do get a kick out of the whole Mayo thing, so they got that today.
When we come back, Baylor defensive coordinator Ron Roberts appeared with the media session on Zoom today along with some players, and so did Jeff Levy, the offensive coordinator at Ole Miss. We're going to have some of what they had to say today. Jerome Tang, Baylor associate head basketball coach, joins us today at 5, and again at 4 o'clock for all of you on the YouTube channel. We are going to show the 2.5-minute trailer of the tease of Ode to Joy, the 3-part series that Sikkim 365, the idea that was created by the partners and Ashley Bryan and also Colt, and then the absolute amazing production that's been going on really for the past several months. That trailer comes out. We're going to have it. We put it out earlier today at noon. We'll have that today at 4, plus Lisa Adams on what all of it means. And we have ticket information. It's on the site. We'll try to get that to you. Brian Etheridge is also in the chat room today, so helping you with any questions if you are on the chat room of YouTube 365 Sports. Coming up next, Ron Roberts, Jeff Levy, and more from New Orleans. Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac, got a lot of great deals going on right now. They've got, obviously, like a lot of dealerships across the country, some inventory issues that they've been having to work around, but they have done that pretty successfully. And as a matter of fact, there's new cars and trucks arriving almost daily over at Richard Carr as they continue to be as good about customer service as you could possibly be. And they've got a lot of great deals going on right now at Richard Carr as well, no matter what you're looking for, whether it's new and pre-owned, car, truck, they've got it all right now at Richard Carr, and more is arriving. So with cars and trucks arriving, if you're looking to buy new, well, right now is the best time to contact the dealership and get your name on a new Buick, GMC, or Cadillac as they are being shipped. Get your name on their inbound vehicle list. If you need a pickup, check out the Sierras. It's got it all: power for a work site, luxury interior, drive for a night in the town. If you're looking for something else, well, how about Cadillac, home of more SUVs than any other dealer? That's Richard Carr with Buicks, GMCs, and Cadillacs. They've got 11 SUV models to choose from, dozens of trim options. It's a one-stop shop to find the perfect SUV for your needs. Whether it's a fun Buick Encore, sophistication of a Cadillac Escalade, Richard Carr has the SUV you need in all sizes and price ranges. But if you're looking to buy not new, if you're looking to just get into something as quickly as possible, they are loaded with premium pre-owned cars and trucks, all go through a 172-point inspection, and their aggressive lenders are ready to get you in a car today. Richard Carr is, for those in the Waco area, your local hometown dealership, so give them a chance to earn your business with great prices, free oil changes on new cars and trucks, and superior service after the sale. And it's Richard Carr. Check them out in Waco. Give them a call. Stop by the dealership and get on that priority list as well to get a car quicker. They're owned, operated, and run by loyal and proud Baylor Bears, and look forward to seeing you at the dealership or in the stands.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs. Even offering financing if that's needed, everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
American Bank has been serving Waco since 1952, and we're just getting started. Hi, I'm President and CEO Dana Hassel. Over the past few years, we've been busy investing in new technology to give you the best banking experience possible. We've also expanded our downtown branch and built 2 state-of-the-art buildings at our Woodway and Bellmead locations. With bright open lobbies plus fast personal interactive teller machines, everyone in Waco is now just minutes away from face-to-face banking. Visit us today and see how we're invested in serving you at American Bank. Member FDIC.
Baylor Scott and White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, hand or wrist injury, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trusts. Baylor Scott and White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
Automatic Chef Canteen is a full-service micro-market vending and office coffee provider with state-of-the-art vending equipment, a wide variety of products, and offering custom-fitted micro-market vending office coffee solutions for your employee break room. You want a full break room solution and a workplace oasis? Well, Automatic Chef Canteen, locally owned and operated for over 50 years in Central Texas, also includes in-house mechanics on call 24/7 for fast, reliable service and maintenance. Automatic Chef Canteen, 6900 Imperial Drive in Waco, or online at automaticchefcanteen.com.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
All right, here we go, this 3 o'clock hour. Ron Roberts, defensive coordinator at Baylor. Jeff Levy, offensive coordinator at Oklahoma, but coming back to coach in the last game. And what's interesting, you heard Mack Rhodes allude to this as well. So, Ole Miss is trying to win their 11th game for the first time ever in a single season. We are going to hear from the 1961 Sugar Bowl MVP, Jake Gibbs, who was a quarterback at Ole Miss, and back in the time when he played, and even through a lot of teams in the 60s, and he didn't play more than 9 or 10 games or so. And there's an interesting story about him because of what happened to them in LSU in back-to-back years. That's at 5:30 today. Jake Gibbs will join us. But Ole Miss has never won 11 games. Baylor has never won 12, and they've had opportunities before. But this year they have a chance right in front of them, so someone's going to break a threshold. Someone's going to do something they haven't done in program history. And so we focus first on Ron Roberts, defensive coordinator at Baylor.
Yeah, obviously we're very excited, obviously, to be here, part of a historic Sugar Bowl. So got a great opponent. I think Ole Miss has been very explosive on offense. Got some great players. There's a huge challenge in front of us, but it should be a great ballgame.
What do you see from Matt Corral, and what's the defense going to have to do to maybe contain him a little bit?
Yeah, Matt's he's got a live arm. He's athletic. He can extend plays. He create plays. I think sometimes he's got eyes on the sides of his head. He sees receivers. I don't know how he's seeing them sometimes. He's very impressive quarterback. So one of the things we got to do is make sure we got to make him a little uncomfortable. We're going to have to pressure him. We've got to have an effective rush, because if he sits back there and has time to go to a second, third progression and do that stuff, he's dangerous, and he'll just keep the sticks moving. So we got to get to be an effective pass rush. And then, the biggest thing is, keeping him in the pocket's another thing, not let him extend plays, get out of the pocket and find those receivers down the field.
Hey, Coach, you had I believe you were Coach Aranda's first hire when he took the job at Baylor. How long have you known him? What's that relationship like? And what was it that led to you saying yes so quickly to joining this staff?
Yeah, I guess I've known him for about 20 years. Yeah, probably goes back to around 99, 2000. I think one thing is just it's been a relationship that's kind of been built off the fact that we're both the kind of football junkies, love talking, love studying the game. And then, obviously the opportunity to get back with him was huge. I mean, it was a no-brainer at that point for where I was at, to be around him, know what type of person he is and how he's going to treat players. And he's a very genuine person. He's one of the true nice guys in his profession. And, I was very excited about the opportunity. So to me, it wasn't even a second thought. I said yes before he told me his salary. How about that one?
When you sort of look at stopping this offense, what are sort of the principles that you guys follow as a defense to slow down this spread?
Yeah, first of all, it's like any other time, is that it's about stopping the run. The one thing they do have, they got incredible running backs. Ely and Snoop are really good football players. So they got a running back core that's pretty outstanding, and it starts with running the football. You got to do that. And then with him, it's a lot about they go so fast. So the biggest key is really make sure you get your cleats in the turf and get lined up. So many times their tempo of their game is so much faster than anything else you're seeing, that you flip on the game film and so many people can't even get lined up. And a lot of explosive comes off of that. And then they wear people out just because of their tempo. Guys getting tired and not rushing the quarterback, and then they're just, letting receivers open. So that's going to be huge. I mean, it really is. But it's adjusting to the tempo of the game, realizing how fast it's going to go, and being able to stop the run and get us in some situations where we know he's going to throw the football. We can tee it up. We can go after him. And we'll have a much better chance at that point to have some rush integrity and be able to keep him in the pocket and put him in tight quarters and make him throw the ball in tight windows.
You got Christian Morgan back, as well as Kalen Barnes back for the Oklahoma State game in the Big 12 championship. Played a limited, but they still played for you. And the fact that you've got them a month later, are they pretty much well healthy that they can give you a full game, or what can you expect from those two?
They could both. I think they both could give a full game. I think they're capable of that. Christian probably would be the one that we would have any concerns about. How much he goes, how long he goes. It's really kind of a lot of what situations gets in him. So I think they're both healthy and they're both ready to play. I also there's a chance that McVay stepped up and had an outstanding football game in the championship game. So I think they're both available and they're both ready to go.
You were talking earlier about working with Dave. You were his boss. Now he's your boss. How's that kind of relationship been? How much leeway, if that's the right word, does he give you at directing the defense? Because now he has head coaching responsibilities. Also on Petrie, how much do you think? What do you think about so many guys opting out for bowls? He came back. He's playing. What does that say about him, and how much of an example has that set for the rest of the team?
Okay. The first one, I'm not just turning back. Okay. I think the relationship's good. Again, as far as his, he's got a lot of things on his plate. Obviously, sitting here as a Power 5 head football coach, as far as where he stems, most of his focus is on our players and recruiting. He does a tremendous job of recruiting, but probably does a better job actually with our football player, our current team, just making sure on a daily basis that he's putting them first, and he has a lot of daily meetings with our players and stuff. So he's a very busy person. So obviously, I'm thankful for that. The opportunity, the amount of trust he's put into me to lead the defensive side of the ball. And, obviously I say it all the time, though, I wish he was in our meetings more. I enjoy talking football with him. That was, that's obviously one of the things I love doing. So when you look at Jalen, his ability, to not opt out, I don't know if that was ever a question with him. The kid, he loves football. So I think if you put the ball down in the park and said on Sunday afternoon at noon and said that there's going to be a pickup game at the park and there was going to be some pretty good players and let's go see how we can do, I think he'd turn around and play again on Sunday.
Ron Roberts in that defense, you hear a lot, and it's kind of unfair to Ron Roberts because of Dave Aranda's what he is defensively, and then even others on that staff. But Ron Roberts has done an incredible job with what he did, and the fact that they used to coach together, and he mentioned that as well. That defense is pretty good. And I mean, is there anything he said during that time? We know that Corral's the guy that could be the straw that stirs the drink because of his experience, because he's damn good as well on what they do defensively.
Yeah, I think the biggest key is just keeping him in the well. Can you keep him from beating with your feet? Because when the Baylor defense has had real problems this year with mobile quarterbacks, it's because everything's covered downfield, but they don't have anybody that can wrangle them up. Like I think about Chandler Morris in the game that he had running the ball. I mean, throwing the ball was fantastic, but running the ball is what really kind of stung them a little bit on those 3rd and 7s where you've got everything covered downfield, and then all of a sudden he goes and runs for 11 yards. So those are the things I worry with Matt Corral. I think they can get after him a little bit, but like when you get back there, when you make him break contain, you got to bring him down. You can't just let him sit back there and create.
Well, he's way better than all those other guys that burned him. He's so much better than Chandler Morris. He's light years beyond the Texas State quarterback whose name I don't even remember. No disrespect, but it's just been a while. He's really dangerous, but at the same time, he can sit back there and throw it. He's only thrown 4 interceptions this year. It's not like he's a turnover machine that you can just hope that they're gonna have to draw him into some things if they're gonna expect him to turn the ball over. And if he's out there running, they got to be smart, obviously, in this day and age of how you hit him if he's not sliding. But if you do get a chance to, you better pop him good and leave him mark. So maybe he's a little bit more hesitant, but he's a gamer. He's gonna go down fighting, scratching, clawing. I would expect the same thing from the Baylor guys, though. I mean, for every second we talk about Matt Corral in the NFL and what a big game this. I mean, it's the same thing for Terrell Bernard and Jalen Petrie and all those guys. And if anything, they had more of a long storied and up and down roller coaster emotional career than Matt Corral had at Ole Miss because of all that they went through. So it's just as meaningful to those guys. I'd say the other thing too about Ron Roberts kind of getting overshadowed. Well, no different than Lane Kiffin and whoever's running the offense at Ole Miss. Yeah. Jeff Lebby's getting some attention more than Ron Roberts certainly, but I think a lot of that lately is just because he's going to Oklahoma. He got some attention throughout the year, rightfully so, but what does it always come back to? It comes back to Lane Kiffin, right? It's Lane Kiffin still has say in the offense, and so I think it's a similar dynamic just on opposite sides of the ball. But my biggest concern for Baylor is not Matt Corral or the secondary, whatever. My personal biggest concern for Baylor is them getting worn down. That's my concern, because the offense goes out there with Gary Bohannon and they can't move the ball or they can't stay on the field and they give the ball back. And then they get, in the first couple drives, that'll be fine. But if that happens over and over and over and over again, that's going to be a tired bunch. And, quite frankly, you look at them and who have they played this year where it's like super up-tempo, like the old Baylor style? Nobody really. I mean, maybe moments here and there, but for the most part, like not even Oklahoma was really that way against them. So that's my concern, is just the up-tempo nature, because I saw what that did to great defenses when Art Briles was doing that,
I don't think these teams have really played anybody like each other all year long. I mean, Ole Miss might have overlapped a little bit, more. I mean, some of their opponents, but really the way that the offenses work in the SEC now and the teams that they play, like, who's running outside of A&M's running kind of a power offense or anything like that? Not really, so Yeah, I think that's what I'm interested to see in this is like how can you compare what Ole Miss has done? You can't compare, Ole Miss to anybody Baylor's played at all. I know
this, that Ole Miss has given up a lot of yards on the ground. And you could talk about Ole Miss wearing out Baylor with the up-tempo, which is what we used to see, 10, 11, 12 years ago up until 2016. Well, there's no question. And that's why when I was asked earlier this week at a show, I said, to me, the key word is tempo. You're going to give up some of the tempo, but you got to also dictate that some of yourself. If Baylor can dictate the tempo and then pound the ball with what they do with their running game, that keeps Ole Miss off the field. And you hope it's not because they scored in 3 plays and they're already off the field. And the same thing if Ole Miss, I saw what they did to A&M with that up-tempo, or what Mississippi State did against a really, really good defense, And so that's very much a key. Couple of other go ahead.
No, I agree. I think Baylor should have success running the football, but to do that, they're also going to have to throw the football. And Gary Bohannon, I don't want to make it sound like he's not a good player by any means. I feel like I kind of like starting to go in that direction. But like it's more that he's just going to be imperative that he makes the throws. Like if he's not making throws, they're in trouble because they're not going to be able to just sit there and run and run and run and run and run. So, it's not only on Bohannon either. It's on the receivers to make the tough catch. And I saw one of the Ole Miss guys, I think it was a couple days ago, making the comment about, it's one of their receivers, making the comment about, the fight in the air and how they take pride in making the tough catch and being the more physical team. Well, Baylor's a pretty physical team too, so it's going to be, 2 physical teams duking it out, but also doing it with some finesse and some style. And, I think it's a very intriguing matchup, but it's going to come down to, for me, Baylor and that defense staying off the field, not being out there all day long. And to do that, they're going to have some success on offense, and they're going to have to also, get some short stops. They're not going to have, be able to allow 10, 11 play drives over and over again.
183 yards a game on the ground is what Ole Miss gave up. And again, there's that fast-tempo offense that sometimes means you have to give defensively, like we saw for years under the Coach Briles offense. 2 college notes and then a break. We come back with Jeff Lebby from earlier today as well. Kennedy Brooks, after a remarkable game against Oregon, Oklahoma smoked them, even though the game got a little bit close in the second half. They hammered Oregon last night, 47-32. Young man we saw play high school football at Mansfield High School has opted to turn pro. He has the opportunity to come back for another year. Remember, he opted out last year, played really well this year, 3 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons when he was playing. He's going to turn pro. And Michigan defensive back Daxton Hill, who's very good, he is not in Miami, at least not as earlier today, for their game in the semifinals tomorrow night against Georgia.
Well, no surprise on Kennedy Brooks, and that was a COVID decision last year, or what have you, to sit out. And I didn't think he was going to be back. Honestly, I thought he was just going to sit out and then go pro. But he did come back. Obviously, they don't win the Texas game without him. He was huge in that outcome. So, no surprise that he's gonna go take his ball to the NFL. And I'm curious to see what kind of success he has there. But what a win for Oklahoma! What a win for Bob Stoops and that program, And I understand, like every other bowl game, we go, well, Oregon was missing 55 players. I don't care. That was a special moment for Oklahoma and Bob Stoops and even Brent Venables to a certain extent. So I think like you saw with South Carolina today or Oklahoma last night, we can point why there should be an asterisk or whatever, but ultimately it's just about the winning of the game. And that was what was special today for South Carolina, what was special for OU, and what's been special for, a lot of these teams throughout the last couple of weeks.
Bob Stoops had to come and coach a team he hadn't done all year. And that's not easy to do.
He had so much damn fun the last couple of weeks. He really did.
Son catches a touchdown.
Yeah, Son catch 30-3 at halftime, and they smoked Oregon, even though the game got a little bit closer in the second half.
And Oregon celebrates because they'll have a new quarterback next year. Really, that was mostly the response I saw from Oregon fans was like, thank God Anthony Brown's gone. I feel bad for him, but that was kind of the response I saw was Oregon fans, and rather than bemoaning it too much, just said like, hey, they won, and we're excited about next year.
Sounded like Baylor fans at the end of last season in a way with the changing of the guard. When we come back, Jeff Lebby, former Baylor coach, he of course now at Ole Miss. He's the offensive coordinator. He's headed to Oklahoma. He's already been working there, and now he's trying to get Ole Miss their 11th win for the first time ever in a single season. Couple of thoughts from him. Paul Catalina asked him a question. So did Jerry Hill from the Baylor Bear Insider. Next on Sikkim 365 Radio. Pickup Outfitters, if you've already, of course, Christmas is done, it's gone. But maybe you got a truck for Christmas, and most of the new trucks are outlined with all of what you need. They have pretty much all of the bells and whistles. But let's say you didn't get one particular thing, or you want to change something up as an accessory on your pickup truck, or maybe SUV or even minivan. Pickup Outfitters at 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco can do that for you. They have all of the accessories you'd ever want, and they also can install them for you. And if you buy the product and get it installed at Pickup Outfitters, it comes with that lifetime installation guarantee, the warranty as well. They'll help you with that assistance if you want that too. Jay Errett, Pickup Outfitters have done a great job, and they will continue to do a great job. In their showroom, the various bells and whistles you want on your vehicle, and then the bays that they have in the back that will put them on your truck, SUV, or minivan. It's Pickup Outfitters, createacommotion.com.
The 2021 Ram brand just received first place in the prestigious J.D. Power's Initial Quality. The Dodge brand finished second to Ram, and the 2021 Jeep Gladiator is rated first among all mid-sized trucks. The Big Finish sales event, only at Allen Samuels, 201 West Loop 340 in Waco.
Come by, let's be friends.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel & Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel & Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel & Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
When it comes to me and my money, I know the way it should be. I need a partner I can count on. That's Genco and me.
Genco has extended their offer till the end of the year. Refinance your vehicle today at Genco with rates as low as 1.69% for 48 months. And have 90 days of no payments. Refinancing can lower your payment, so you pay less for your car. Apply online and get an additional 0.1% off our already low rate. You can't pass on rates this low and make no payments for 90 days. For more information, go to GencoFCU.org.
Annual percentage rate subject to change without notice, subject to credit approval, membership eligibility, and loan policies. NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
They're people I trust. They treat me like family. My money, my future, my credit union. Genco.
The year is wrapping up, sports bettors, but BetUS still has your NBA, NHL, college football bowls, UFC, PGA, and of course NFL betting lines up for their 27th year. Live betting on all of it. Log in to BetUS.com today. Use our promo codes SICK'em125 for 125% bonus on cash, or SICK'em200 if you use crypto. So use the 3-decade leader, BetUS.com. Use promo code SICK'em125 and SICK'em200.
Masters of barbecue, kings of crazy good food, and the perfect sanctuary for sports, beer, and barbecue is Coach's XXX Smoke on Austin Avenue in downtown Waco, and also on Highway 84 in McGregor. A menu filled with choices like a great offensive playbook, including 3 meat combos with sides, burgers, and sandwiches, wings, loaded giant spuds, and salads, crazy wings, chicken poppers, big boy fries, and smoking quesadillas, just some of their amazing appetizers. There's Coach Big Ol' Draft Beer, or order Zach's Spicy Bloody Mary, or Coach's margaritas and mimosas while watching your favorite team play. Great pecan smoked barbecue, fun atmosphere with attention to detail, including a catering menu, and we'll quote your price to fit your budget. Coach's XXX Smoke on Austin Avenue in downtown Waco, and walking distance to the great places to shop and enjoy, and also the original location on Highway 84 in McGregor. Great food, great price, great fun. Eat where the locals eat.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
Sikkim 365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
If you missed earlier, Mac Rhodes, Baylor Director of Athletics, answered a lot of things. In fact, he was at practice, football practice, when we were talking to him. Appreciated that time and mentioned that they have done a really pretty good job of being able to handle at least some of what's going on, of course, with COVID that has shut down some bowl games. And he said he did not perfect, but for the most part, they've been able to handle that. And again, you never know. You could wake up tomorrow morning and things are an issue. But the game now, Saturday night, just a couple of nights away. Also, Jeff Lebby, offensive coordinator at Ole Miss. He was at Baylor. That's Art Browse's son-in-law and Kendall Browse's brother-in-law. And we all know the story of 2016. But since that time, that staff, a lot of them, have been on the uptick with what they do. Kendall Browse now at Arkansas, many at North Texas or wherever else, and including Jeff Lebby at Ole Miss and what he has done. And now he's joining Brent Venables at Oklahoma. He was a part of the media session earlier today about Ole Miss. Matt Corral, their quarterback, and Paul Catalina had a chance to ask a question as well.
What's going on, Jeff? What were kind of your thoughts and reactions? I know as you talked about the whirlwind, but I mean, the opponent, Baylor, a school that you were around for so long, what was kind of your reaction to seeing that you were going to be playing them, and what do you kind of see from their defense?
Yeah, I mean, they've done a great job this year. Defensively, they've done an unbelievable job creating turnovers. Obviously, they're here in New Orleans in the Sugar Bowl because of creating turnovers. That's what's got them to this point. They've done a heck of a job. They're incredibly well coached. They're incredibly sound. And they play with great effort. So got to match that and surpass it, but excited about it.
Jeff, just following up on that, you have a history at Baylor and not to dredge up ghosts, but is there a little extra sauce on this one for you?
Man, I think the biggest thing, Paul, is us finding a way to get to 11 wins. I think that's all the sauce we need. Be able to do something that's never been done in the history of the school is going to mean a lot to these kids and mean a lot to us as a staff. So that's the focus.
Hey, Jeff, I was just wondering how similar is this offense to what you and Kendall and the guys were running at Baylor, and how much has it evolved since then?
Yeah, sure. There's a ton of similarities, from the ground up, from a tempo standpoint, spacing, how we run the football, those things are very similar. There's been a ton of growth and the marriage here, and merging the two things. Obviously, when Kendall was at FAU with Coach Kiffin, and now me being here, so there's been a bunch of growth. Feel like the offense is in a great position right now, and it's been a lot of fun, being able to put these things together and moving forward.
Hey, Jeff, Matt's talked about this a couple times throughout the season and earlier this month, but from your perspective, just how special and important has that relationship between you and Matt been over these past couple of years?
Yeah, man, it's been incredible, humbling, watching him play the way he plays. I think the thing he's got going for him more than anything is he's an inspiring guy, and the way he puts it on the line for his teammates and his university every Saturday is unlike anything out there in the country. And I believe that, and dang proud to coach him, proud of him, proud for him. And I think the most exciting part, man, is he's just getting started. So we've got a great relationship, getting stronger every day, and just proud of him, ready to go do it one more time with him.
All right, so Jeff Lebby, and I think that when Brent Venables was hired, and I saw reactions from those, I think that again, we know what he's done at Clemson. We know what he did at Oklahoma before moving on to Clemson. And that was probably a good opportunity for him to turn the table, turn the page, and go get some breath of fresh air for him. But the Jeff Lebby hire, to me, was brilliant for Venables. Here they are, a team that we know what they do offensively. We know what they've tried to do, and they have Caleb Williams and what he's done and what they hope he can do. And I think the hiring of Jeff Lebby, with all due respect to anybody else joining that staff or staying with that staff, was probably something that gives him a chance to just kind of just keep going.
I think it's a good progression. Look, he comes up, coaching for his father-in-law, so then the negativity around him is always going to be, well, your father-in-law is really running that show. Okay, well, then you go and you strike out on your own in a couple different places, or you're working for an offensive-minded head coach, so anytime, it's kind of what Eric Bieniemy deals with Andy Reid, I think. People say, well, is Eric Bieniemy calling the Chiefs offense, or is Andy Reid? And then when you work with a guy like Lane Kiffin, even though you're Jeff Lebby and you're calling the plays, the naysayers about your career will always say, is Lane Kiffin calling the plays or is Jeff Lebby? And now he's going back to his alma mater, and we know that Brent Venables is not going to call offensive plays. It's going to be Jeff Lebby's offense. So as he grows in coaching and gets ready to be a head coach, which he will be sooner rather than later, he can show that, no, listen, I've done it every step of the way.
Yep, and his way. And as he mentioned, Jerry, I thought it was a great question about the similarities and how they've used what they used at Baylor that put up massive numbers and points to the point where they've tweaked it a little bit along the way. And that's what you should do. And that's what they would have done if it had stayed intact the way it was before 2016. All right, Purdue has bounced back to take the lead against Tennessee at halftime. They were down 14. 16-point run in the second quarter, 23-21 Boilermakers lead Tennessee at halftime. Earlier, South Carolina beat North Carolina. Okay, earlier today, Brian Etheridge, Ashley Hodge, Colt Barber, and, of course, the mothership of Sikkim 365 released the trailer of the documentary of Ode to Joy. It's about the men's basketball team winning the national title earlier this year in Indianapolis, but it's about so much more than that, about the historical perspective of Baylor and things that they have been through and some things that Waco has been through. And it's about Scott Drew being introduced and what he said, which everyone probably laughed their asses off when he was talking about it at his opening press conference. A lot of coaches promise or say things can be done. There's nobody that believes Scott Drew except Scott Drew. That's next, the trailer, and then Lisa Adams, who's the senior producer of Ode to Joy. Next on Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports, and we're live in New Orleans.
If you are looking to buy a new home or sell the one you're in, or both, you need to call my friend Lance Donaldson, the Donaldson family team, brokered by eXp Realty, 254-214-3713. Look, Lance will work tirelessly for you. Look, I was at a Christmas party with Lance not too long ago, and he stepped away in the middle of a Christmas party to close the deal, to help his client figure out some things that they need to do. He's that kind of guy who'll be dedicated to what you need. And look, you need a realtor to get your house on the market in this seller's market, to get people in there, to show them the house. You also need people to, get you around and see all those new homes that you maybe not know on your own. That's what he'll do. He's going to get you a great deal on your home. He's going to get you a great deal on the house that you're buying. That's Lance Donaldson, the Donaldson family team, brokered by eXp Realty, 254-214-3713, or online at lancedonaldson.exprealty.com.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
After my first car accident, I feared the biggest damage would be to my wallet. I expected a mountain of bills and a long, drawn-out process. But my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent was there when I needed her and helped me get back on my feet and in my car in no time. Instead of a hassle, I got reassurance and a quick recovery.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Baylor University is where lights shine bright. So, let there be light. Let there be roommates and teammates, scholarship and championships. Let there be fresh starts and new traditions, fast friendships and lasting impacts. Let there be laughter. Let there be joy. Let there be light. Baylor University, where lights shine bright.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Shorty's Pizza Shack at 12th and Bagby is a homegrown, family-owned and operated must-visit pizza place in Waco. Fantastic pizza by the slice or get the whole pie to share. Great happy hour specials every single day, and it's not just pizza. Great wings. You have to try the Sikkim sauce, chili cheese fries, pizza pillows, and more. Dine in for a great hangout or carry-out. Order online at shortyspizzashack.com or do yourself a favor and bring your crew to the restaurant at 12th and Bagby. Shorty's Pizza Shack. Tell them Paul sent you by.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Live from the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, this is Sikkim 365 Radio.
Now he'll run it with a block. Splits. Bohannon! Touchdown, Baylor!
Our Sugar Bowl coverage is brought to you by Ideal MRI, Edward Jones Investments agents Ben Erlinson, Tom Albers, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. The Willis Law Firm. American Bank. Pioneer Steel and Pipe. Genco Federal Credit Union. Camille Johnson Realtors. Automatic Chef Canteen. BetUS.com. Coach's XXX Smoke Barbecue. Texas Farm Bureau Insurance. Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
Hey, one quick note about New Orleans. Tomorrow, of course, New Year's Eve, and then Saturday night, Baylor and Ole Miss, 7:45 kickoff inside the Dome here in New Orleans. I saw this note on Sikkim 365 in the Premium Insider from Sampai82. For those who haven't been, I highly recommend it. Took in the museum this morning in New Orleans, including watching the extraordinary film, phenomenal visuals, vibrating seats, the Doris Miller exhibit. Well, of course, there is a Doris Miller Memorial on MLK in Waco, right across the street from where we are. And that is here in New Orleans.
You're talking about the World War II Museum,
yes,
the official, National World War II Museum. That's what they went to, and that's Doris Miller, a Waco legend, of course, and has just across the street from us that memorial that people can check out whenever they come to Waco. It's right across the street from our studios, basically. But I was just telling Armstrong earlier, I want to go. I just don't. It'd probably be a deal where I'd need to get up early to do it, and I could do that. But the only thing is, I would be like looking at my watch, like constantly going like, okay, is it almost 3? Do I have to start making my way back? And I would really want to go and just be able to say, like, I have no time limits.
You have a lot of time Saturday.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, we're on the air until about, 5:30 or something like that. I don't know.
Maybe I'll get a wild hair and do that. But at some point, I am going to be in New Orleans and go to that museum because I've heard it's fantastic. And I've always had, always been very interested by the topic. So.
Baylor men's basketball is Saturday in Ames, Iowa, against Iowa State. Jerome Tang, associate head coach, joins us today at 5. So we heard about this idea. Brian Etheridge and Ashley Hodge and Colt Barber, Sikkim 365, wanted to do a documentary. And I just, honestly, my first thought was, damn. And then my second thought was, Can we afford that? Can we just time and money and all of that? Seriously. And it is in May, and it's happened it's less than a year. They won the national title in April, the men's basketball team. The idea was kind of already out there. And it seemed like that was like 4 years ago. The national championship, it was 8 months ago. So there is there's a 3-part series, the Ode to Joy. Here is the trailer. It's like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. The trailer that kind of sums up a lot of things, history, Baylor, Waco, and then along the way, Scott Drew's vision of one day actually and truly bringing success to the Baylor men's basketball program.
Baylor basketball through the years has been no stranger to tragedy. It's almost like there's been a Baylor basketball curse.
Police in Waco, Texas fear the worst and think that some of Denny's teammates might know something about it.
A murder, payments, cheating. My God, it was the full meal deal of a scandal.
This is dysfunction. This is as bad as it gets.
When you said Waco, Texas, they thought of Branch Davidians and they thought of the Baylor basketball scandal.
After that scandal and everything that unfolded from that, the integrity of Baylor was questioned.
I remember thinking, who would ever come to Baylor?
The last time that Baylor basketball was in the Final Four was 1950.
They needed somebody that believed in the power of prayer.
This is definitely a David versus Goliath situation, but I can tell you this, we're going to build something here.
The term naive is probably too strong a word.
Baylor sucked at everything.
Our best shooter's nickname was literally Brick.
They're the laughingstock of college basketball.
They would never win at anything. There's only one question we can possibly start with. Why would you take this job?
I mean, it was desperate times and it required desperate measures.
At Baylor University, I did not come to go to the NCAA tournament. We came to win a national championship.
Triple overtime, quadruple overtime.
Man, unbelievable game.
You know, at that moment, it was like, okay, we have a chance to do something special here.
Baylor basketball is rebuilt.
There it is. Baylor would win it. Scandal and disgrace 2 decades ago. This will do it. Scott Drew's dream comes true.
Our fans that have been with us for the lean years, the good years, they all deserve this. The city of Waco deserves this.
It is an amazing, and that's the thing, that's all we've seen. We've seen a couple of clips. Paul and I sat down once in the studio, and they interviewed us for an hour. And,
longer than that.
Maybe 2. Yeah. And that's just very bits and pieces. And I can't wait to watch. There's information on Sikkim365.com in the premium section. We've also put a link up in the chat room on where they're going to see the viewings. It's throughout the state of Texas. One of the names that they're working on certain parts of when it's going to be in Waco, and of course it will be in Waco. But Brian Etheridge, Ashley Hodge, and Colt Barber, Sir Charles Scott, and Lisa Adams, who's about to join us here in a moment. You are part of it, Paul.
Yeah.
You ever thought we could be a part of something that's this big?
No, I you know what? I'm really happy because I was worried that the thing that they were going to ask us about was we're going to be at 30 for 30, but what happened in 2016?
Mm-hmm.
Now, certainly we talked about that in our interview. I don't know what made it or not, but that's what I always thought that was going to be the thing that you and I and Craig, what we did was that was what we were going to have to talk about, for the longest time. And now here we are talking about something not only good, but great and amazing. I got goosebumps watching the trailer. So it's just very exciting to be a part of it and to be a part of the company that's putting it on. And it was awesome. I hope I'm available for many more documentaries about happy things in the rest of my career, because it was good. And we were there for some backstory exposition on some of the rocky times and the buildup, but even still, it's all unbelievably, and Ode to Joy is the perfect title for many reasons, but it's a joyous thing we're talking about.
Yeah, pretty incredible run, and I think it's just it's great to see Scott Drew, get into the point where he got last year and where they are right now as well. And obviously, a big game coming up to start Big 12 play. But, I like the fact that it didn't skirt around, stuff that happened, just pretend like, oh, it's just some feel-good story.
Mm-hmm.
It's just some basketball team that won a title that wasn't expected to. No, it's like, hey, let's get straight to the point. There was a lot of bad stuff that was going on, and here's how bad it was, and let's talk about that. And that's why it's the story that it is. If none of that would have happened, it would have been another national championship team, quite frankly, and it would have been special, but not nearly as special when you realize where that program actually came from. And, Scott Drew, just a true miracle worker. So many times over the years where, maybe a different athletic director goes, we're just not going to crack through with you. We've reached our limit. Or so many times where maybe somebody approached him and he could have said, you know what, I'm just never going to crack through right here. But he stayed the course. They stayed the course. And they saw the ultimate payoff to that last year. And now they're one of the top, hottest programs in the country, and look to be pretty secure in remaining that way so long as things stay the way that they are right now.
Yeah, Scott tried to prove something 18 years ago, and he wasn't going to be deterred from proving it. And he was going to be one of those things.
And there were ups and downs. And there were disappointments. And there was Cinderella that beat them. And then they were Cinderella. And so some of the responses in the chat room, goosebumps, and then a bunch of flames from Eddie, biscuits and gravy with 5 stars or 5 stars. Daniel Acton, chills. And that's kind of what, and Lisa Adams, senior producer, who was in the studio with us when we shot the interview. Paul and I were in the studio at the very beginning of this. I mean, at the very beginning of this, and here we are now as they're about to release, and the trailer came out today. Lisa, thanks for your time. It's great to hear from you again. Your thoughts about when you saw the trailer, did you get the reaction, and you've been a part of this from start day one, that some of our listeners and viewers got as well?
Hello, and yes, guys, I had the same exact reaction. It brought me back to June, just as you said, when I joined you in studio, and we started this incredible journey to tell such an amazing story. So I was like, wow, we did this, and our team could not be more excited to show everyone the limited edition 3-part series that we are locking in as we speak. Each episode is going to be about 50 minutes, so it's just going to tell the amazing story of Coach Drew, Baylor basketball, and also share some love or give some love to the whole city of Waco. So yeah, we're excited. It's been an amazing journey, and I'm just so excited.
Lisa, this was supposed to be a 1-part documentary. And then when we talked to you a couple months ago, it had become 2. And then as we get towards the trailer release, all of a sudden it's become 3. You guys better get this out, or there's going to be like 10 seasons like Friends.
Right? I know. It is funny that you say that, because at first we were like, all right, 90 minutes, you guys. We were going to, tell the whole story in 90 minutes. Well, here we are, 3 parts, 50 minutes. But that just shows how incredible the story is and how all of our interviews were amazing. Everyone, the perspective that they brought to the journey of this program over the past 18 years we were like, oh, we can't leave that out. We can't leave that out. So our storyline definitely changed and progressed the past couple of months, but all of it is absolute gold. So we're ready to share it.
Well, and you guys have been there from the beginning. You say, and you discuss the interviews, and I say this all the time when somebody says, hey, interview this and that. You all did your homework too. Your questions were, and I'm not just saying that, they were phenomenal. This thing could have just been an hour and a half, as you said. So you're basically admitting then this became so much bigger than even you thought, and you knew it was going to be big in the first place.
And that's one thing that's so cool about creating a documentary is you go in knowing, the nuts and bolts of what the story is going to be. But then once you actually sit down with the different characters and interviews, you discover what the true story is to these people. So it became such a large story. We knew it was going to be incredible going into it, but it exceeded expectations. And I'm a girl from Minnesota. I came down to Waco really having done my research, not experiencing it before. And that's why it was such an incredible experience for me, getting to know your guys' community and Baylor University, the program, Coach Drew. So, yeah, we go into it with an idea, but then it absolutely exploded once we set foot and started interviewing people in Waco.
I bet you if you did like one of those bulletin boards with yarn like you do in the movies, like trying to figure out where you start, like, okay, we're going to interview these 5 people today, and then all of a sudden you have to do more strings because they told us stories about 3 other people each that we have to do. Is that kind of how it exploded into what it did?
Absolutely. And we had 2 crews running at the same time, which means we had different interviewees. We had a small team out there on the field, but we'd be like calling each other being like, hey, make sure you ask this person about this. This person told this amazing story. So it was exactly how you said. It was a big cobweb of, all right, this story was really cool. Let's make sure we get other perspectives on that and things that no one knows about.
Yeah.
I have to say one of my absolute favorite parts of the doc, I'm not going to give away too much clearly because I want all of you guys to see it and watch it, but there's some behind the scenes moments from the bubble that no one has ever seen. So I'll give that little teaser.
Oh, okay. That's fantastic. And what has been the reaction from, and I know Scott Drew basically became senior producer too of this documentary
Absolutely.
as well. It was never enough because he was wanting so many to be involved. But what has been the overall reaction of those who you have interviewed and their perspective, or Scott Drew or others along the way?
Yeah, I think what's great about this story is that there are so many different perspectives of the Baylor basketball journey. We have the coaches. So clearly we talked to Coach Drew, Jerome Tang, but then we also are talking to Jared Butler, Maceo T, Davion Mitchell, people that the kids that really made this happen. But then you also get to hear from the fans and the people of Waco that, experienced it and felt it from the fan perspective. So overall, everyone has just been elated with the process, and everyone has been really, really great about being a part of it. We're taking their time, we're taking their, images, their resources from over the years, and it's just been nothing but positive and an absolute great experience.
Lisa Adams with us, senior producer, Ode to Joy. So we're about to start showing this. We have the list of all the cities.
We are.
Yep. So what's next? That's it?
The big premiere is on Friday, January 14th at Waco Hall. So tickets will be going live soon. And then, we will be traveling around Texas. We're solidifying dates in all major cities. So wherever you are in Texas, come out. We are excited. You'll be able to see all 3 parts of the series in one night. We'll make it a fun event, a fun time to celebrate Baylor, Waco, this program. Even if you don't like sports, there are a lot of really great storylines to it as well. Just the storyline of resilience. This men's basketball team, multiple times was handed, not great cards, and they came back, and it's the ultimate success story. So we are excited to get this out. We are still in the process, though, of locking in some NCAA footage, which is very expensive. Mm-hmm. So if anyone, is feeling moved to make a donation today for the documentary, we would gladly take that. But we are excited, and it's looking absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I saw that note today from Brian Etheridge as well on the cost of that. Friday, January 14th, 6 o'clock, Baylor University's Waco Hall. Other showings will be Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, Tyler, Austin, among others along the way. And there's a thread up in the site, and I put it up in the chat room. Lisa, congratulations. Obviously, Chris and everybody else that was a part of it. I can't even imagine the undertaking, the hours and hours of how you had to go through all of that and get it done and make it look amazing. And just a 2-minute, 15 or 20-second thing has already fired up a lot of people. Thanks for your time.
I appreciate it.
You too.
Thank you.
That's Lisa Adams, senior producer. Chris Charles Scott, a part of it. Many others behind the scenes. I mean, it was like a Hollywood production with the amount of people that were there, lighting, all of it. It is incredible. It is incredible. All right, and of course, Baylor for opening up their doors to it as well in the city of Waco as well. All right, when we come back, we'll continue this 4 o'clock hour. Craig Smoak has Off the Radar today at 4:45. Also today at 5 o'clock, we'll ask Jerome Tang. He is also a part of that Ode to Joy. His thoughts, but also Iowa State, Baylor, 2 unbeatens in the top 10 in the Big 12 opener on Saturday at Ames, among much more. Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports.
BetUS.com. Look, let's close out the year strong. Go to BetUS.com right now, and if you haven't opened up an account, you can do so for just $50, and with that $50, you get a 125% bonus with promo code SICKM125 if you use cash, normal cold hard cash, or if you're a fancy new high-fangled technological type person, you can use crypto and use promo code SICKM200 and get 200% bonus on that with promo code SICKM200. Bottom line is BetUS, best place to go to place your online bets. They are second to none when it comes to the 3-decade leader in online sports betting. Go to BetUS.com today. Use promo code SICKM125 and SICKM200.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Payments for qualified buyers at 2.9% with $5,000 down cash or trade. TTL Extra, see dealer for details.
Get the quality pre-owned car you need now at a price you can afford at Richard Car. Find great deals like a 7-passenger 2016 GMC Acadia for $225 a month, a 2019 Ford F-150 for $438 a month. Plus, get top dollar for your trade now. Richard Car. Pre-owned vehicles go through a 172-point inspection, and our aggressive lenders say yes when others say no. Find your next car or truck at Richard Car today.
At Richard Car, we give you more.
It's plain and simple. Waco Custom Marketplace is the one-stop shop for what you need for tailgating, from charcoal, cold beer, and wine. And, of course, customize your order with brisket, tri-tip, sausage, wings, smoked pork tenderloin, country-style or pork spare ribs, marinated beef and chicken fajita meat, ground beef and chili, meat, hot dogs, and burgers, buns, seasoning, sauces, chips. There's fresh baked bread and kolaches every day, breakfast sausage links. And you can also customize your favorite cut of steaks from Select, Choice, or Prime, bacon wrap fillets, ribeyes, New York strip, sirloin, T-bone, and porterhouse. Full service butcher shop includes pork, poultry, beef, chicken, and seafood, serving Waco restaurants and families since 1940. Your one-stop shop for beef, pork, poultry, and seafood needs. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
You know what would make this moment better? Pizza. Dough made from scratch and an Italian family sauce recipe pizza. 3 fresh signature cheeses making a melty blanket of perfection pizza. Like loads of premium toppings like crispy Old World pepperoni, savory Italian sausage, and fresh sliced veggies pizza. That's Marco's Pizza. Visit marcos.com and make any moment better. And with 4 locations in Waco, Belmead, China Spring, Woodway, and soon to open in Robinson. Marco's. Pizza lovers get it.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
All right, this 4 o'clock hour rolling through. This is day 2 of our coverage in New Orleans. You hear the sponsors. Some who have been with us since day 1 of April the 6th of 2020, a day we'll always remember. And wasn't it a year later, minus 1 day, that Baylor did win the national title, April the 5th? It was. A year after we launched, a year and a day after we launched, actually one less day when we launched the show. A lot of these sponsors, man, we appreciate that. A lot of them have been a part of us from day 1. When we had nothing. And now we've got the studio, and it's a company that also has, from a website to a documentary series, which is pretty phenomenal. We'll hear from Mickey Spagnola here momentarily on the Cowboys, who are rolling 12-3, 2 games left, Arizona. And then, of course, they close that out in a couple of weeks, and then it looks as if they're more than just real. But with them, even when they do look more than just like hype, you're worried about them, aren't you?
Look, why wouldn't it be? Look, they're the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, like what?
They are the America's team. They've won 5 Super Bowls.
They won. Look, Bill Clinton was the president the last time they won the Super Bowl. That was a long time ago. So I'm just not. I'm not ready to dip my toe in the water of excitement until they do something they haven't done since 1994, which is get to the NFC title game.
Yeah.
You know, like if they get to the NFC title game, then I'll be like, oh, well, maybe this is real. As opposed to this, like, oh, hey, they won a playoff game. All right, everybody gets a lollipop.
07,
and then
07 and 16 weren't those the years that they just, but here they are. They're really, really good. And the difference is they're not just one-dimensional of what either offense or defense. It's offense with a defense that is incredibly opportunistic, and what they did to Washington was embarrass them. 56-14. So that's going on as well. We'll try to get to hear from Mickey here momentarily. So an update in the College Bowl game, Tennessee back in front. This is a good one in the Music City Bowl in Nashville, by the way, Paul. Nashville, Tennessee 28-23 now. Early third quarter, they lead Purdue.
Yeah, a little back and forth. Jack is watching that game with great interest. He's a Purdue fan.
Yep.
He's nervous. He's nervous. He's excited. He's all over the map.
He's more worried about the basketball team, though. But if you're Purdue, you're Purdue. And that's what I love about Jack. It's not Purdue basketball, but maybe Alabama football. It's across the board. Same thing with you and FSU, the softball team that you love.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing with me and Nebraska, the volleyball team that I love.
Hey,
and Craig likes Oklahoma no matter what.
You know, I'm a Yankees, Lakers, Cowboys in the 90s. And, now I'm Lakers still, back to the Lakers. And, Patriots, but now I'm a Bucks fan.
Yeah.
And people actually do that in real life and are serious about it. And how you're not a real fan, you don't know what it's like to actually experience real joy as a fan because you're just a bandwagoner.
Look, I say this with love. Jason Kramer, love him to death. He is the ultimate fair weather fan. The only team that he loves undyingly is the only one he actually has a direct tie to, and that's Midway.
Yeah.
He loves Midway.
And the last 2 years for him have been difficult.
It's been rough, but he loves them unconditionally no matter what happens. But I've known Jason for 16, 17 years now, and he is USC, then he and the Rockets, and then he was
now Alabama,
the Raptors, and this that
Clemson.
Yeah,
he's a wonderful kid. Though.
Yeah.
He's an incredible fan, but he's as loyal to Midway as he is anything else.
Yeah, I grew up with a guy who was very much the Yankees, Lakers, Patriots kind of guy. And I'm like, dude, you're from Tyler, Texas. You have no ties. I mean, at least like you could say you have family in New England. You have nothing. And yet he was, and then I think he turned into a Heat fan. And then it was, I'm a LeBron fan. Not just, and I was like, wait a second. You were a Lakers fan, and he had nothing to do with them during this time period.
I'll tell you that here's the rule that I live by. It's fine to love an athlete and be a fan of a guy, but I call this the Wade Boggs rule. When Wade Boggs left the Red Sox and went to the Yankees, I salute him, but now you're my enemy.
Right.
Like you've just gone and that was your choice, and congratulations on your money and your World Series, couple World Series before the Red Sox got theirs. I remember Dennis Leary in the Curse of the Bambino doc they did on HBO said one of the lowest points of his life was watching Wade Boggs ride a New York police horse after they won the World Series, and I kind of felt that a little bit, but that's how you have to do. Like, look, I still love them. I'm really happy that Big Papi never played anywhere else, so I don't have that little pock mark, but look, they're gone, and that's how it works.
I agree. I think all three of us are we're all the same with that. From start to finish, and I had some great years for about 20, 30 years when you liked Nebraska football and the Redskins, now Washington, and now it's sucked for the last 10 or 15 years because I like those same teams, and I don't even want to get into the Rangers as well. Avery, Carlos, Willie, Josh, Charlie, Dexter, and Tony, some of those behind the scenes that have set us up here at the Marriott Hotel inside the second floor, right outside the NFL, right outside the media headquarters here at the Sugar Bowl, and of course John Sudsbury, who's the one that from start to finish has been helping us out as well. But I do respect people who stick to one team, and no matter what, they are fans of that team all the way across the board.
Well, because you don't really enjoy it. You may think you do, and you may think that you're celebrating, like, this is the fifth time I've celebrated a championship. Yeah, because you only root for teams that win when they're winning, and so you don't know what it's really like when a team that you care about loses. You don't know. You may pretend, that sucked. That's all you care about. You have no real emotional investment. It's all superficial.
I'm not Liz Taylor. I don't want to get married 8-9 times. I don't want to do that, because eventually, you go from Richard Burton to the guy who fixes the cable, which is what Liz Taylor did. I don't think you do that. I think that you got to stay loyal the whole time, and you got to go up and down, because, again, had I jumped off the Red Sox bandwagon after the third or fourth time out of my life where they'd come close and fell on their face, then I would not have experienced the joy I had the night they actually won it. And every one that they have won since then has been great, but nothing matches that. No. Nothing matches the feeling of, and look, it's been since I was 15 since the Cowboys won the Super Bowl.
But you stuck with them.
But I also know that, like, that was joyous, and I experienced 3 and 4 years. It'll be almost equally as joyous waiting for whatever indeterminate amount of time I do before they win again.
And I'll never see any of my teams ever win. Craig, take off, not the headsets, but take your hat off for a second. Can you zoom in on the hat? Because somebody just mentioned it in the chat room. This is a hat that you get on bearskins.com of the website. It's something that we've been promoting. Remember, we started to tell you there was 365 sports-type merchandise. Thanks again to the partners. It's 365 Sports, and I got Craig a cap. He had one that was a Sikkim 365 hat, and here's one now that is Sikkim. There you go, 365 Sports, and those are available. Bearskins.com. Bearskins.com. And Craig now is on the walkway, the runway, as a model of 365 Sports information.
Love that attention. Love all eyes on me, baby. That's what I live for. But no, I mean, it's a cool cap.
That's so true.
Follow Craig on Instagram. Follow Craig on Instagram to see selfies of him in front of, like, flower pots.
Exactly.
We should have called Jennifer about the Mayo Bowl.
It's a cool cap. And, I got the other one that was when we kind of first launched, and That's more of a Baylor flavor, but this one's pretty neutral. The 365 Sports, and it's a good cap, fits well. I mean, it's adjustable, so it should fit well. But it's the mesh back, and I really like it. I'm digging it. So you're probably going to see a lot of it on top of my head over the next few months, and maybe I'll dabble in some alternate options at some point as well. Get my own little design going, or little color options or something like that. But this one's a very good one, and I like it a lot.
It's almost camouflage, but not quite gray. And then, of course, there's the white side, but 365.
Do you want to just do this live?
Yeah, let's do. Hopefully, while we're on YouTube, we can do this live.
Yeah, let's do this live.
Let's just see what happens here.
Yeah.
Craig brought up attention, and it made me think of a segment we were going to do, and we decided we didn't have time. But Craig does have off the radar in a second. Let's see what happens here.
Hello. This is scary.
Hey, Paul.
Hi, Jen. You're live on the air right now. We're sorry I didn't.
Don't worry, it's not video.
No forewarning or anything.
No. We wanted to catch you. We want to catch you off guard.
Well, here's why we did this, Jennifer.
Well, you did.
We did this because we just modeled Craig's hat that I got him for Christmas, and then he was like, "Yeah, me wanting attention," because the camera was specifically on Bubba Bear, and so it made me think of if it had been you. Then, I mean, my God, you would have gotten dressed up for it and all that. So what did you think of the Duke's Mayo Bowl ending today with South Carolina and North Carolina?
I thought it was absolutely disgusting, the whole thing. Like, do you realize that during every single quarter they made the commentators and the poor sideline reporter, like, I thought I wanted to be a sideline reporter one day, but if I have to work the Mayo Bowl, I would never. Like, they made them dip donuts in the mayonnaise, Oreos in the mayonnaise, and a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in the mayonnaise. Like, whoever came up with this needs to be fired immediately. It's disgusting. Disgusting. If I was the head coach of a team that got submitted into this terrible Mayo Bowl, then I would purposely lose so I would not have to have the mayo dumped on my head or lie and say our whole team has contracted COVID.
Well,
disgusting.
Jennifer, I when I saw the video finally, I started wondering if you were ever like a spy or something, and they wanted to get information out of you. Would dumping mayonnaise on your head be the way to be like here's the nuclear codes, just take them?
No, it's like being a prisoner of war and like being tortured in the chambers. Like that would be torture for me. Like I would die. If mayonnaise, no, I can't. I hate it. It's disgusting. I'm a mustard girl. Ketchup. I can mess with some ranches unless you can tell it's heavy mayo in there. But yes, that would be torture if someone did that to me. It's absolute torture.
If I put a box inside of a 6-foot tub of mayo, no matter if it's Hellman's, Duke's, or maybe even Miracle Whip, which is almost like Cool Whip. If I threw a box in there,
no, it's not.
You had to submerge yourself for 5
Cool
minutes.
Whip. No, it's not. It's not even close to Cool Whip.
Yeah, don't ruin Cool Whip for people.
I know, and I love Cool Whip.
It's Cool Whip.
So if I threw a box, it was in there of $1 million. And I threw it in a vat of mayonnaise, but you couldn't just jump in, jump out, because it would be and you had to spend 5 minutes, and you wouldn't suffocate. Would you jump in it?
I mean, of course, for $1 million, I would, but I would be taking like 15 showers afterwards and be probably dry heaving the whole time. and just so everyone knows, like Craig and my dad growing up, they know I have the biggest fear of mayo. Like I'll never forget the time Dad brought me lunch to school, and like I took one bite and the mayo dripped on my finger, and I called and told him he can never bring me lunch again. But they used to tape little mayonnaise packet. Even the word is disgusting, mayonnaise. It's just like disgusting. It's yellowy. It's not pure white. It's like Jello. It's like gross. But anyways, they used to tape mayonnaise packets all over my mirror in my bathroom. So when I would get up, I would go into my bathroom and there'd be mayo all over the mirror. They'd hide Miracle Whip jars in my bed. So when I'd get in my bed, like they'd be in there. It's everyone that knows me knows that mayo is like one of my biggest fears. I just can't with it. I can't.
If you got into bed and there was a Black Widow spider or a bottle of open mayonnaise, which would be worse?
Mayo. I mean, I would probably scream at both, and then I would just brush the spider out of there, and then oh man, I mean, obviously the spider, but mayo is up there. I mean, it's horrific. It's disgusting. Like, I don't know how anyone is like, loves mayo. And then when people that like eat a hamburger and there's mayo on it and they start talking to you and it's like in the crevices of their lips, I can't even think of it. I don't allow Daniel to eat it.
Okay.
Like, not in my presence.
Yeah. All right. Well, we just wanted to check in with you and say hi. We got a segment with Bubba Bear coming up, so we just thought we'd share your love of.
And it was kind of anticlimactic. Like, they hyped it up, and then they went. Yeah, like they went to commercial, and I was like, wait, you have to get on the app to watch this? Thank God, I don't have to get on there. But anyways, Sick and Bears, and y'all have a.
Oh, all right. Did
you
hang up on her?
That was my bad. That was my bad.
God.
Sorry, I was like, Mickey was calling in. So
okay, yeah, we'll try to get Mickey locked in maybe for tomorrow or John Machota, one of those two. Coming up next, Craig Smoak's Off the Radar at 5 o'clock. Baylor Associate Head Coach in basketball, of course, Jerome Tang, and at 5:30. Jake Gibbs, the 1961 Sugar Bowl MVP, the quarterback at Ole Miss, who played for the New York Yankees in Major League Baseball. All of that and more. Sikkim 365 Sports and 365 Sports, and also YouTube 365 Sports as well. Back in a moment. Marco's Pizza. No, there's no mayo. There's nothing there. It's the original sauce from back when they started 30 years ago. Marco's Pizza, the fastest growing the amount of stores in selling pizza, delivering pizza, or even pickup pizza around the United States. And in Waco, there are 4 locations. The newest location in Robinson. There's also one in Belmead. And there's also one, of course, in both China Spring and Woodway. And Bob Mock is the owner. Bob Mock, who has been in the pizza business for about as long as Marco's has been in existence. He started at other companies, learned along the way, found some things he liked at this place or that place, and then he took over his own franchises in Waco at Marco's Pizza. Marcos.com is where you can go online and find all the discounts you want, all the various opportunities from whether pickup or delivery and much more. And, of course, the one I like to order for us at the studio that's delivered by the Belmead location is the flat thin crust, the one with all meat on it, and it's enjoyable. And their cheese, by the way, is a combination of 3 different cheeses. But you can get what you want, including sandwiches, salads, cookies, and more at Marco's Pizza, 4 locations in Waco's, and also Marcos.com.
Jay from Pickup Outfitters here with your holiday gift-giving guide. So it seems the air fryer is an, air quotes, hot Christmas gift this year. An air fryer? Come on, really? First, an air fryer is not a real fryer. It has no grease. It's a mini convection oven. And you probably already have one of those in your house. So you're just wasting money on something that's not even real. You know what is real? A grill guard. It's made of real steel and it protects the truck of someone you love. And you can get one for that special person on your Christmas list at Pickup Outfitters. So avoid common Christmas gift mistakes like house slippers, a beard, nose, ear, hair, and eyebrow trimmer. Or a man purse? You better not. Give a Christmas gift that says, I love you. A grill guard, a toolbox, running boards, and other great gifts at Pickup Outfitters. You can even get a gift certificate to let them pick out whatever they want. Pickup Outfitters is the Christmas gift headquarters. 220 Lake Erie Drive in Waco.
Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness continues to add more weapons to your getting or staying in shape arsenal with 8 brand new treadmills ready for you to run or walk a mile or 2 or 10. And with the explosion of interest in pickleball with instructors Joe Rosa and Jody Thurman with more courts available. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with large flat screens stretched across the weight room with Wi-Fi available, their own app to enjoy news, business, weather, or sports. Everywhere you look, there's energy, passion, and commitment. New touchless water fountains outside of each locker room, and all the locker rooms with showers, sauna, and whirlpool. Upgraded PA system throughout the world-class tennis courts with a youth academy led by pro Britt Coleman. Fitness and tennis merchandise available and a tanning bed. I promise you'll look and feel better. You just need to walk through the front door. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Brad Boozer, Boozer's Jeweler, joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Brad, what makes you different than anyone else, in your opinion, as far as what Boozer's does?
The fact that I own the jewelry store, anything I need to do, will do, or can do, I can do it. The buck stops with me, whereas a lot of places you have to go up the corporate command and corporate channel. Well, if you come in and want to make a deal, we sit there and we make the deal.
And you can find whatever someone's looking for, correct?
Anything is obtainable. I don't care what brand it is, what size it is, how much it costs, large or small. Anything is obtainable, and we can definitely get that in for you to see, look at, or buy.
Do you have the opportunity, if people have to pay things off, as far as a layaway program? What about what you have with financing?
Absolutely. We have 12-month no interest financing. We have layaway. If you want to pay with Bitcoin, I can take Bitcoin now. So if there's any way you want to pay for it, we can find a way out to make it work.
You want to know why they're successful? Brad Boozer, the owner of Boozer's Jewelers on the corner of Valley Mills and Lake Air in Waco.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. It's time for Craig Smoak's Off the Radar. Brought to you by Pickup Outfitters. Since 1997, we've been outfitting trucks, SUVs at 220 Lake Air Drive or createacommotion.com.
All right, welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio, live from New Orleans. And time for a little off the radar, just some stories that we don't get around to typically or might not spend much time mentioning, but are worthwhile or notable, especially with an audience out there that is certainly expanded beyond the parameters of just Texas headlines and things like that. So let's go ahead and start off with some college football. Still be college football heavy, but I don't know if we were going to talk about Hawaii football much on this show unless we were given a reason to, right? I mean, we're just not going to randomly mention them. But there is an interesting story coming out of Hawaii today. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there's been quite a few transfers.
Yeah.
For the Rainbow Warriors and head coach Todd Graham. 13 players had entered the transfer portal as of earlier today. That's a lot. 13 players have entered the transfer portal since the season ended and all that. But what was notable is, and all this, of course, is going back to issues that were, sprung up earlier this month, culture issues, mistreatment of players. Todd Graham's been around a while, but the folks at Hawaii just kind of seem like, it's not going well, and it's going even worse because the point of the whole thing here is that his own son has now entered the transfer portal. Todd Graham's son, Michael Graham, a defensive back for Hawaii, becomes the 14th player to enter the transfer portal since the 2021 season came to a close. 2 days ago, Graham and the AD there, David Matlin, had issued public statements talking about the exodus of players and all of that, trying to do probably a little bit of damage control, but try doing some damage control when the son of the head coach is now the 14th player to enter the transfer portal. And I don't know what all there is behind that, but I don't know how you can spin that. And maybe it's homesick. I don't know. That just is not a good look in any way, shape, or form. I mean, to me.
That does.
I don't know what the end game here is for Hawaii and Todd Graham. As far as keeping him on board, maybe past this year. It seems like it's going sour really quickly.
Well, I mean, they made a bowl game, and then they couldn't play in it because they, didn't have enough players due to COVID. So they finished 6-7. He's been there for 2 years. They were going to play in, of course, the Hawaii Bowl against Memphis, but COVID-19 played a factor in that. But, you're losing your leading rusher in Day-Day Hunter. You're losing your starting quarterback in Chevin Cordero. Now you're losing the son of the head coach who plays defensive back. And the folks at Hawaii, like A.D. Matlin, are saying just the transfer portal is a reality of college football. And, the amount of them are disappointing. But he and Coach Graham are in constant contact and always looking to make the program better. So remains to be seen what's going to happen at Hawaii and Todd Graham moving forward. Again, they did make the Hawaii Bowl, but just bizarre to see the son of the head coach into the transfer portal.
Yeah, and I'm not doing this to look up for reasons. He had like 2 tackles, total tackles. So I don't know if
like playing time or things like that. I mean, but guess.
Still,
well, and look,
Craig's going to enter the transfer portal if I make him look at that, have that hat on the ear again. I know that. But
outside of Todd Graham and these players not liking him all of a sudden and everything that's gone on there, Hawaii in this new era of the transfer portal is going to have a problem because you guys do get homesick. Guys get homesick when they're 4 hours away.
Sure.
And go to a school that's an hour away or in their hometown. And you can't Hawaii can't be one of your regular recruiting trips. If you're going to take the trip to Hawaii, you have to have already committed there. That's the rule. Otherwise, everybody would be taking free vacations to Hawaii as one of their 5. And so it's difficult for them anyway, given where they are. And the transfer portal is going to be really hard for Hawaii because kids may get out there, and as much as you may love living in Hawaii, it's just not what you want.
Yeah, and, I think, too, and I've never been to Hawaii, would love to go to certain parts of Hawaii, and I think, too, there's kind of this fantasy of what it really is, and then maybe when you go out there and you realize, like, oh, I can't just go home on the weekend. Like, I have to take 2 flights to get back to Texas or whatever it is. That's tough. So, not sure what's going on exactly, but the culture is a bit of an issue right now for Hawaii, and that was just more notable because of the fact that there have been some notable players who have elected to transfer, but yeah, now Todd Graham's own son. It's just kind of bizarre. Did you want to add something?
He signed through 2024. The AD made the comment. Todd Graham and I are in constant contact.
Yeah.
I know you brought that up as well. So I don't know. This doesn't seem...
It's weird.
It does seem to be a little bit strange, yeah.
All right, Dino Babers is sticking around at Syracuse. He's going to be hiring a couple of coaches from Virginia, hiring Robert Anae as the offensive coordinator, and Jason Beck will serve as quarterbacks coach. They were with the Cavs under Bronco Mendenhall for a few years, and he obviously was out of there very abruptly, about a month ago. And so, maybe they would have moved around otherwise, but that certainly gives you, that's bringing it to a close, basically. So they are on their way to a new stop, and they will be joining Dino Babers and Syracuse. And I don't follow Syracuse very closely, but I wonder kind of just the rope that Dino Babers has. He's been there for a while now, and I don't know what the expectations are, but
he had some success, but it seems like it's now stalled. Philip Montgomery's had up and down roller coaster type of success, but he's been able to stay at Tulsa. I don't know where Dino Babers. I thought he would go from Syracuse then to another.
Yeah, I thought so. I think,
and he might be doing that without wanting to.
Yeah, Syracuse is an odd entity when it comes to football. It's a basketball school. If you told everybody the Carrier Dome is only going to host basketball games and we're not going to roll out football in there anymore, I think most of the people are like, all right, fine. Mm-hmm. Let's not leave the little rubber things from the turf on the ground. Yep. They're fine with that. So yeah, it's weird and it's hard to.
They have a history of names. Jim Brown. Now I know we're going back.
Donovan McNabb.
Donovan McNabb. I don't remember if Floyd Little went there or not. And then
Marvin Harrison went to Syracuse.
Marvin Harrison, and there was a the guy that was such a great player in the '60s who died.
Ernie Davis?
Ernie Davis, who was a phenomenal player,
But what does that mean now?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, are you going on, and all due respect, I'm waiting for you live in Waco, but Syracuse, New York, for kids from the South, is that appealing in any way, shape, or form? Is there enough of an Ohio State vibe or a Penn State or that draws you there? No, there's not.
There's not. And the biggest story about Syracuse football in the last decade was when Greg Paulus, the former Duke basketball player, transferred there to play quarterback. That was the most interesting about about them is that Greg Paulus is going to go play football now. Well, great. You know.
Yeah.
All right. Elsewhere, I have not seen any updates on whether or not Shane Beamer received a concussion, because did y'all see the dumping of the mayo? The cooler hitting him right in the back of the head as they were dumping it on him.
Yeah.
But that's getting a little bit of play of just how rough and fun yet that was. But
mayo's not, if you make it just a regular jar of mayo, it's dense and it's heavy.
Oh, no. When they poured it on his head, it almost just sat there. Like it sat on top of his head.
So here's the lesson for next year. Make sure the people you have picking up the gigantic, heavy vat of mayo are strong.
Yes, but nice finish for Shane Beamer in South Carolina. And now Spencer Rattler, obviously, is going to be a part of the mix. And he was tweeting all day about the game and shouting out some guys and all that. So that's where they will now turn after their big Mayo Bowl victory. But, yeah, Shane Beamer took a little knock on the back of the head from that cooler, and it seemed to be just fine. But a couple of other just like staff type of news and notes. Last night, Oklahoma obviously beat up on Oregon. Oregon in the midst of a coaching transition as well. Obviously, having to have the sudden, abrupt, change in coaches, but they're starting to fill out the new staff there. Apparently, according to Bruce Feldman, Oregon is targeting Penn State special teams coordinator Joe Lorig to join the Ducks staff. He was with Dan Lanning for 2 seasons at Memphis. Also saw another note on Oregon. Western Kentucky's Carlos Lachlan expected to be hired as the new running backs coach for the Oregon Ducks. So a couple of just staff movements going on as Georgia defensive coordinator Dan Lanning gets set to take over. So Carlos Lachlan from Western Kentucky in that high-flying offense with Bailey Zappi and Jarrett Stearns and obviously Zach Kitley, who's now at Texas Tech as the OC. Their running back mate is going to be headed to, or the running backs coach, is going to be headed to Oregon, and they'll continue to fill out that coaching staff, obviously. But, what a showing for Oklahoma last night.
Yeah,
we talked about it, but what did you think of that moment just for Bob Stoops?
I loved it.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
I know a lot of people, they're polarizing. The guy, he did not have to do that. He could have been embarrassed in that game if they lose more people. But look,
you can make your excuse about Oregon and everything that's happened there, but Bob Stoops has been on television. Yeah, he's probably popped in and, talked to the team a couple times. His son plays for them, obviously, but he's not coached or called a play or, set up a game plan all year. That's not easy to do in 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, incredible. Really is a very, very cool story. So, Oregon, I just want to mention them again because I was talking about some of their staff hires, but, got to be a little bit disappointed even with being shorthanded. But at the same time, their energy is now placed towards next year and the fact that they're going to have a brand new quarterback. But Oklahoma, that's a big win for them, and just kind of a feel-good story after what was a very long year, obviously a very tumultuous year there towards the end of things. Sad news here, not like awful news, but Dickie V did announce he's going to be taking some time away from the broadcast booth as he continues to battle cancer. He announced this yesterday. He said in October that he was battling lymphoma. Second time he had been diagnosed with cancer in the past 3 months. He met with a throat specialist in the New England area in Massachusetts this week and was told that he should take a break. So he said, I've been having some issues with my voice. I need to see what's going on. The good news is he doesn't believe anything's life-threatening. However, Dr. Zeitels says I have precancerous dysplasia on the vocal cords. Bottom line is I need to rest them. My voice needs a TO, baby. So there is Dickie V. And, of course, he got to call the Baylor game not that long ago. Good best wishes to Dick Vitale, and I guess I'll leave it there. Do we need to go?
No, go ahead. Go to a couple more.
All right. Just best wishes towards Dickie V as he continues to fight. No, it's not a fun battle, but I hope it's one that he wins nonetheless. Are any of y'all big NBC Sports Network watchers? Not me.
Only like in the Olympics when it's like, could you turn this on? Yeah.
Well, later, as the new year hits, it's going away entirely. The former Versus Network, we knew NBC Sports Network was going away, but it's going to be completely gone here at the start of the new year. I watched it when it was Versus probably more than I watched it when it was at NBC Sports Network, honestly. When I was watching early UFC days, when Versus was the first cable network to show UFC fights. But then obviously things changed with NBC, and now that network's going to be coming to a close. Yet another outlet that thought they were going to compete with ESPN, and it's just it's nearly impossible to do at this point because they are a juggernaut.
No, and you got to put something on. I mean, they got to do something to forward people towards Peacock for sports.
Yep.
It's going to be on Peacock. So.
Yep. NFL on Christmas Day, Browns-Packers, 29 million viewers. For Browns and Packers on Christmas Day.
It's a good game, too.
Yeah, it was. 28.59 million viewers, up 22% in ratings, 42% in viewership from last year's Vikings-Saints game. So a very healthy audience. That was the second largest audience this season behind the Raiders and Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day that had 37.84 million. Just an incredibly massive number, but the NFL strikes it big on Christmas Day. And speaking of the Browns, Baker Mayfield addressed death threats that he's been receiving, says that it's just people talking, it's keyboard warriors, but the Browns organization says if they feel a need that they do need to get involved at some point, it's not just, blah, 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 just people chirping, that they will do that. But Baker Mayfield brushing it off for right now, but certainly got a lot more of it after this past weekend.
Just
I know.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, imagine being that mad about something like that. It's just
Keyboard warriors.
Completely stupid. And then later on, we're going to have Pittsburgh and Michigan State in Atlanta, and we're going to have with the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. That will get underway at 6 o'clock. And then at 9:30, Wisconsin, Arizona State from Las Vegas, Nevada, and Allegiant Stadium, the Las Vegas Bowl. Wisconsin favorites in that one. South Carolina, you mentioned one earlier today. And right now, Tennessee up 31-30 with 2:28 left to play in the third over Purdue in the Music City Bowl. So there's a few things off the radar.
And Jeff is watching that game. Jack, is watching that game on his phone right now. Saturday, Baylor and Iowa State, two top 10 teams. Baylor, number one, defending national champions. Men's basketball on the same day that the Sugar Bowl is played here in New Orleans. Jerome Tang, associate head coach, joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. Jerome, you thanks, first of all, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year a couple of days ahead of time. Did you see Iowa State being able to, whether they're unbeaten or if they were 10-2, whatever, did you see enough from them last year to think that they could turn it back on again this year this quickly?
No, I did not. But T.J. Osterberger is an unbelievable human being and a terrific coach, and his staff, led by Danielle Robinson. I mean, they've done a terrific job of bringing in the right players that fit what he likes and what he's about. And those guys are tough and they're connected on defense. And then, the fans at Iowa State, if you just give them just a little bit, man, they push you over the top. And so it's going to be an unbelievable environment up there this weekend. And looking forward to watching our team respond to that challenge.
Is that the true art of the transfer portal? You guys have done it very well. It's not just, going out and saying, okay, well, how many stars does this guy have? What's the biggest names that we can get? Who are the guys that match and can quickly, because you're going to transfer and play right away, you want the guys to be able to quickly assimilate into your style.
Yeah, they have to not just assimilate into your style, but be willing to buy into your culture, and there's a lot of ways to play the game of basketball. Coach Drew says all the time, 1 + 3 = 4, 2 + 2 = 4, 0 + 4 = 4. There's a lot of ways to get to 4. You have to find the guys who are willing to buy into your way to get to 4. And they've done that.
Yeah, and it's been an amazing turnaround. And all you needed, right, Jerome, is another team in the Big 12 to be really good and elite?
Just another year in the 12, man. Really great competition. It's what makes us the best league in the country. And we get to play everybody twice. So it doesn't matter what your record is. You got to play them on their home court. They got to come play you on yours. And I mean, it's so hard to win on the road.
Last year, you guys didn't have to. You had to obviously deal with COVID, but you didn't have injuries, which is luck, something shining on you, whatever. Because everyone has to deal with them. This year, you've got to. You had Langston Love right off the bat. LJ Cryer, I know, has dealt with some stuff. What's that been like? Kind of Adam Flagler and his finger. What's that been like navigating that after a year where you didn't really have to worry about those little bumps and bites and bruises and getting to test some of that depth that you've brought in?
Well, we said in the locker room, we did our job this summer, and to have the talent there that we could withstand an injury, a person being down for a little bit. You know, Matt missed some time, Adams missed some time, LJ's missed some time, and so you know that's the luxury of having depth and having guys who buy into their roles and having guys who are able to step into new roles on a spur of the moment. And so we got really good kids, man. And I'm excited. Some of them have been given some opportunities that, you know, maybe they weren't expecting, and they've done a great job. And it's amazing when the guys who are, you know, playing your position, if they're hurt for a reason, you know, Wally Tip, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, let the young guy play. You know, so guys get healthy a lot quicker when the guy in front of them is playing really well.
That's a great point, boy. You're right, because you never know when you give that up and then you don't get it back again and you become the role player or someone else like that. With that being said, has anyone outperformed what you thought to date?
I think our team has outperformed what I thought to date. And not that I didn't think we could win every game. I really didn't think we would have this margin for error. And we've had a bigger margin for error than I anticipated going into the year.
Your guys have had to, you know, Matthew Meyer has a new role, and you know, as you lose the players and people step into new roles, are you even a little bit more impressed than you thought of guys being able to adjust to new roles right off the bat and so quickly this year?
No, because we saw them do it at practice every day last year. You know, last year every practice was, you know, two of the best starting fives in the country playing against each other. You know, I mean, you had a team with, you know, you could have Davion and Maceo on one team and Jared Butler and Adam Flagler on the other, and LJ Cry is your third guard, and somebody else is the third guard. And you know, I mean, it was, you know, Jonathan and Flo on different teams, and, you know, Mark Vidal and Matthew Meyer on different teams. It was, so there was some great games at practice, and you saw guys show some things that they could do, and they were just waiting for their opportunity to do it in the game.
We released the trailer today. Sikkim 365 released the trailer, Ode to Joy. You're a part of that. You're a part of the documentary, and you should be. You're a major part of what's happened under Coach Drew as well, along with maybe dozens and hundreds of others. What are your thoughts about this documentary and the fact it gets to tell a story, not just about one team, but about a 20-year or plus period in both the Baylor or also the city of Waco?
Smoak, I'm so thankful. If I had to write the story for myself, you know, I would not be at Baylor right now. Okay, that wasn't my plan. I'm so thankful that God was in charge of this and allowed me close the doors that needed to be closed, and directed my life in a way that I got a chance to experience this whole thing and be here, you know, to reap the fruits of your labor and see all the people over the last 19 years who have poured in behind the scenes, who have been there just supporting us and doing things to help the program get to where it is today, and watch them enjoy this and get to enjoy it with them together. And so, man, it is just such a blessing. So thankful to, you know, Sikkim 365 for doing this documentary, and honored that I got to be a part of it. I'm excited to see the episodes. You know, I mean, I want to binge watch them. Let's go.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, you look good, Jerome. I'm telling you, you look good in the trailer.
Yeah, you
look
good. you look good. How much of what Baylor football is doing, even when it was under Coach Briles or the 11-3 team with Matt Rule, or what you're seeing now with Dave Aranda? I know you keep up, but Baylor Athletics probably much more of a family now than ever before. How much of that do you feed off of, or do each other feed off of as far as programs?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. We say, you know, rising tide raises all ships. And I mean, we're not lost on the fact that football is the engine. All right. And when football is good, all the other sports can be good, because it's a trickle-down effect. You have a great atmosphere to bring recruits to. And, I mean, it's just like I heard some of the numbers y'all was just saying about the NFL on Christmas Day, how many people are watching. Well, that you're going to have those kind of numbers watching bowl games and seeing us play in the Sugar Bowl and get a win in the Sugar Bowl. And, Baylor's going to be plastered, and there are going to be kids all over the country and all over the world that are going to be watching this, and they want to be a part of it, and so, man, I can't be more excited. I was trying to figure out how we could play the 2:00 game, get on the charter at 5:00, be in New Orleans by 7:00, and get to the game. But couldn't make it work.
Well, first of all, take care of your business in Ames, Iowa. I know that might be as fun. And I haven't been to Cameron, and I haven't been in a couple of other places. I have not been to Allen Fieldhouse, but I've been to Hilton. And I went on a road trip with you guys a few years back. And that place, that's like a carnival of basketball to me as far as the fans. That is a great atmosphere, isn't it?
Yes, it is. They are some of the most knowledgeable basketball fans in the country. And they don't only cheer when their teams do well. They know when to cheer to give their teams a boost. They're just great fans, and the environment in that place, the Hilton Magic is for real. Mm-hmm. Okay. And, we're hoping that we can go in there and, jump early and try to keep the fans out of it, but they never stay out of it. They don't wait for their team to do something. They do something to help their team, play better and spur them on. And that's the great thing about those fans at Iowa State.
Happy New Year, Jerome. Thank you, Coach, for all the things you are doing on the segments with us throughout the years, and we appreciate that.
Well, thank you all for having me. Happy New Year's, and Sick and Bears. Let's go win that Sugar Bowl.
Baylor Associate Basketball Coach Jerome Tang with us on Sikkim 365 Radio, 365 Sports. They play Saturday afternoon in Ames against Iowa State, unbeaten Iowa State, and a great matchup of unbeaten top 10 teams in the Big 12. All right, we have a little bit later on. We got a little bit of a break here. We'll break here, come back with a couple of notes, update the bowl game that's going on right now that's getting down to the wire. Also, I've had someone ask for a link that wants to donate to Ode to Joy. Thanks to Paula for that. I'll try to get you that link, Paula, and put that up in the chat room as well. But at 5:30, Jake Gibbs, former Ole Miss quarterback who played in the major leagues with the Yankees for a decade, will join us. He was the 1961 Sugar Bowl MVP, and this is Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. Pioneer Steel and Pipe, 1943. That's when they began their business, and they are as strong as ever before. Doesn't mean there haven't been a couple of times when they were ups and downs because of the economy, but they have stuck with it. They have persevered. They have been resilient, and here they are. And there are certain local businesses that do certain things, and with what they do, distribute pipe, steel, metal, heavy-duty things that are for building that have been eaten up, gobbled up by the big box stores. They haven't blinked. They've gotten better. First of all, 1943, that says a lot. Secondly, the product is amazing. And third, their customer service is more than just a slogan. And now they're building a brand new, bigger, better, faster, stronger facility in Waco that will help serve you even better because they can distribute even more and efficiently than they already do pretty damn well, and they have since 1943. Pioneer Steel and Pipe for metal, steel, pipe, and more to build, and also even suggestions on metal buildings. And if you need help with contract, at least maybe a nudge on who you should contact for that for contractors as well for the project, that's where you go. Locations in Waco and Bryan open Saturdays 8 until noon. If you can't get there during the week, pioneerboys.com.
The 2021 Ram brand just received first place in the prestigious J.D. Power's Initial Quality. The Dodge brand finished second to Ram, and the 2021 Jeep Gladiator is rated first among all mid-sized trucks.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance, and there are no hidden costs. Even offering financing if that's needed, everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
American Bank has been serving Waco since 1952, and we're just getting started. Hi, I'm President and CEO Dana Hassel. Over the past few years, we've been busy investing in new technology to give you the best banking experience possible. We've also expanded our downtown branch and built 2 state-of-the-art buildings at our Woodway and Bellmead locations. With bright open lobbies plus fast personal interactive teller machines, everyone in Waco is now just minutes away from face-to-face banking. Visit us today and see how we're invested in serving you at American Bank. Member FDIC.
Baylor Scott and White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, hand or wrist injury, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trusts. Baylor Scott and White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
Automatic Chef Canteen is a full-service micro-market vending and office coffee provider with state-of-the-art vending equipment, a wide variety of products, and offering custom-fitted micro-market vending office coffee solutions for your employee break room. You want a full break room solution and a workplace oasis? Well, Automatic Chef Canteen, locally owned and operated for over 50 years in Central Texas, also includes in-house mechanics on call 24/7 for fast, reliable service and maintenance. Automatic Chef Canteen, 6900 Imperial Drive in Waco, or online at automaticchefcanteen.com.
Live from the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, this is Sikkim 365 Radio.
Sanders throws too high and intercepted, and being run back by J.T. Woods inside the 10 and out of bounds. They're going to mark him right near the 10-yard line.
Our Sugar Bowl coverage is brought to you by Ideal MRI, Edward Jones Investments agents Ben Erlinson, Tom Albers, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. The Willis Law Firm. American Bank. Pioneer Steel and Pipe. Genco Federal Credit Union. Camille Johnson Realtors. Automatic Chef Canteen. BetUS.com. Coach's XXX Smoke Barbecue. Texas Farm Bureau Insurance. Allen Samuels Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, here we go, this 5 o'clock hour. Closing in on, there's a picture. It's kind of a famous river, Paul.
The mighty Mississippi, the Ole Miss.
It's a big
the
dude
old
right
man.
there. That's an alpha dog of a river. So it's not even a river. It's like an ocean of a river. It's monstrous. And earlier today, I was able to go down a little bit, and I just kind of found a place to run a little bit. And I ran around the convention center, and there, of course, all of a sudden, there was the Mardi Gras warehouse, which you talked about, which the media party at a Super Bowl one year. Mm-hmm. And then turned to the left behind the convention center, and there's all these huge docks of the big cruise ships that are back there. No cruise ships were there. I'm sure they're all out on the water as they get ready for New Year's Eve parties coming up tomorrow night. But, God, that thing is just monstrous. And there's some beautiful video Jack McKenzie did, just kind of working overtime as well. Armstrong, get back. We haven't had a chance to visit with you. We'll get Jack on as well, who's been just focused as ever because Purdue's playing. What's the update on Purdue, Craig? You got that score anywhere?
Yeah, it's 31-30 Tennessee, looks like. Start of the fourth quarter, about 2 minutes in. Yeah, 31-30 Vols. And they got the ball at the Purdue 33. So getting into scoring position and could extend that 1-point lead.
Probably one of the better bowl games, it seems like to me, back and forth. And it's so good with that. Now, so there's a lot going on. And Armstrong Sims, we've discussed this, but we definitely need both of your feedback. How long did you actually, when you fell asleep, which didn't take long last night, after the long drive from Waco to New Orleans, and then a long day after that, when did you actually fall asleep, and when did you wake up?
I fell asleep about maybe 10.
Okay.
And woke up at 8:30. 8:30.
10 and a half hours. Yeah.
I could have gone 15.
Yeah, you could have gone more, right?
Did you just feel guilty?
No. No, I just like to get up. I don't like to sleep in.
It's one of those things, if you sleep in, if you ever got to we sleep in, then you actually feel worse. Now, you could argue with that. There's times you just, oh, my God, I'd love to sleep an extra hour or two. But do you feel actually worse?
If I sleep in, then, oh, my gosh, I'm not tired until like 1 in the morning. And then now I want to sleep in again. And now suddenly my sleep schedule is like 5 hours off.
Yeah, when did Jack wake up today?
I don't know. We have to 10:30, 11.
Yeah, I know. He went a long way. And you guys are a couple of rooms down from us, and I didn't hear a peep, and I'm so proud of you that you guys didn't get in late last night. I was very excited about that.
Jack left the media lounge last night and said, I'm going to sleep. And I went, really? He's like, yes, absolutely. He goes, I've been up since 3.
Day.
I'm done. I thought, okay, well.
Yeah, it's pretty. Now, one of the stories, again, so what was the most interesting part of the fact you slept through 400 miles of it, but was there anything of interest between the time you left Waco and then also arriving in New Orleans, like cattle on the highway or anything like that? Anything?
No, the only interesting thing was when at one point we switched, I drove for about 2 hours, and then I gave it back to Jack, and then immediately it started like raining. So that's
Did you look at the maps or something?
No, but I timed it perfectly.
Yeah, you did. I like driving in the rain. I think that's pretty cool.
There was a point where I looked up and it was foggy and gray, and I was like, it looks like I'm living in a black and white world. Like there was no color.
Smoky doesn't mind driving in any condition.
I don't. No, you don't. No. When you get those rainstorms where you honestly cannot see in front of you, I will pull up. Mm-hmm. Underneath an overpass if I can see one or just get off on an access road. I know I really will. That's to me, icy, that's fine. I did that back in February.
But by the way, Craig will be happy to hear this. There is a psycho out there worse than you. I discovered him last night.
What, driving?
Yeah. There's worse.
How?
I know. So I had to go get Amanda. I took an Uber to the airport to get Amanda, and then the line for Ubers was long. You wait, but there's a great taxi stand at
there is
New Orleans.
It's unbelievable. I took that. Craig and I took that.
Roll you through. Well, the guy I got last night was a psycho. I thought he was going to take the
left. Worse than New York City?
Oh yeah, I thought he was going to take the left turn to get on a Convention Center Boulevard last night at 70 miles an hour. It was.
I was stunned in this day and age of Uber, in this day and age of rental car, which is $50 a night here for valet. But we walked got on the escalator to go get our bags. It was already on the carousel, which was stunning in New Orleans. We walked out the door, and there was the Uber stand over here. But what stunned me was that the taxi cab area was flawless. And it took maybe 45 seconds to go from 8 deep to us walking and getting into a cab. Now, a lot of people use Uber these days. But it was $36 from the airport to here, which was not a very long drive. And it was worth it because all of them had vans. Mm. So we had, a pretty decent amount of luggage. But I thought that their setup at New Orleans for taxis was like the days of what you used to have before there was ever anything called Uber.
Yeah.
It was amazing. You just walk up and they're like, this one is JP 11, 12, 13, and get in that one.
Yeah. Jack, you want to get on the microphone at all? You want to just, someone out there wants to hear your voice.
I will say the only thing, when Jack gave me the wheel, I couldn't get, how in the car you put in reverse drive neutral. I couldn't get it to get into drive. because I was not used to it. And Jack seriously questioned my ability to drive a car.
Is it a stick shift?
He goes, it's an automatic. You know how to drive an automatic, right? And I was like, yes. I just couldn't get it into the gear.
If you can't drive an automatic, you don't need to be driving, right? Not at all. All right. When we come back, this young man, he was the 1961 Sugar Bowl MVP. He will join us next to kind of trip down memory lane as we're live in New Orleans covering the Sugar Bowl, Baylor and Ole Miss, Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. Don Humidor and also Coffee Beans. In fact, here with me, I have one of these La Fontana, and it's the torpedo end, and I'm going to walk down and look around a little bit tonight if I can, a couple of 3 or 4 or 20 blocks away from our hotel room, and just kind of enjoy some of the atmosphere of New Orleans. And Don Humidor has the best cigars. And every elite brand that you would want, Cohiba, Padron, La Fontana is a name that if you smoke cigars or you're in the cigar business, you know who they are. But they don't get a lot of attention, but they're among the elite. Ashton, Macanudo, Rocky Patel, Torpedo Edge Light is one of my favorite cigars, and it's almost identical to what La Fontana brings with the same style as well. And then they have coffee beans, fresh coffee beans that they'll sit there and grind right there in front of you, or you want to take them home and do it yourself. And then they have CBD products, and a couple of different options on that. Something that perhaps you have a soreness and you need to kind of put some sort of salve or some sort of like I've had to use a little bit with my lower back today. I did not have my CBD roll-on thing, so I just had to find something else to use. And they also have VitaDreams, which is fantastic because it allows you to fall asleep and maybe save 30 minutes to an hour of sleep each night. Otherwise, you toss and turn. It's Don Humidor and Coffee Beans. Tell Carol, Cheyenne, and Ashley Smokey sent you in the Town West Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
The 2021 Ram brand just received first place in the prestigious J.D. Power's Initial Quality. The Dodge brand finished second to Ram, and the 2021 Jeep Gladiator is rated first among all mid-sized trucks. The Big Finish sales event, only at Allen Samuels, 201 West Loop 340 in Waco.
Come by, let's be friends.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
When it comes to me and my money, I know the way it should be. I need a partner I can count on. That's Genco and me.
Genco has extended their offer till the end of the year. Refinance your vehicle today at Genco with rates as low as 1.69% for 48 months. And have 90 days of no payments. Refinancing can lower your payment, so you pay less for your car. Apply online and get an additional 0.1% off our already low rate. You can't pass on rates this low and make no payments for 90 days. For more information, go to GencoFCU.org.
Annual percentage rate subject to change without notice, subject to credit approval, membership eligibility, and loan policies. NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
They're people I trust. They treat me like family. My money, my future, my credit union. Genco.
The year is wrapping up, sports bettors, but BetUS still has your NBA, NHL, college football bowls, UFC, PGA, and of course NFL betting lines up for their 27th year. Live betting on all of it. Log in to BetUS.com today. Use our promo codes SICK'em125 for 125% bonus on cash, or SICK'em200 if you use crypto. So use the 3-decade leader, BetUS.com. Use promo code SICK'em125 and SICK'em200.
Masters of Barbecue, kings of crazy good food, and the perfect sanctuary for sports, beer, and barbecue is Coach's XXX Smoke on Austin Avenue in downtown Waco, and also on Highway 84 in McGregor. A menu filled with choices like a great offensive playbook, including 3 meat combos with sides, burgers, and sandwiches, wings, loaded giant spuds, and salads, crazy wings, chicken poppers, big boy fries, and smoking quesadillas, just some of their amazing appetizers. There's Coach Big Ol' Draft Beer, or order Zach's Spicy Bloody Mary, or Coach's margaritas and mimosas while watching your favorite team play. Great pecan smoked barbecue, fun atmosphere with attention to detail, including a catering menu, and we'll quote your price to fit your budget. Coach's XXX Smoke on Austin Avenue in downtown Waco, and walking distance to the great places to shop and enjoy, and also the original location on Highway 84 in McGregor. Great food, great price, great fun. Eat where the locals eat.
Welcome back to Sick'em 365 Radio.
The 5 o'clock hour is brought to you by Edward Jones and financial advisor Cam Heathcott. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
He played for a decade with the New York Yankees. Jerry Dean Jake Gibbs, but he also was an All-American, national champion quarterback at Ole Miss. And he's in Jackson, Mississippi, headed here to New Orleans to watch Ole Miss and Baylor in the Sugar Bowl. And he was the MVP of the 1961 Sugar Bowl. Jake Gibbs joins us on Sick'em 365 Radio. Mr. Gibbs, thank you very much for your time. What are your thoughts on what Ole Miss is doing right now with football and the kind of run they've had this year with Lane Kiffin?
Well, thanks, Paul, for having me on your show. We are in Jackson on our way to New Orleans. I think just outstanding what Ole Miss has done this year. You know, we have struggled from time to time, but this year under Coach Lane Kiffin, he has put this team together, and they are fun to watch. They enjoy playing with one another. They've improved offensive and defensive, so we got a pretty good football team.
You've had a very interesting life when it comes to sports. You played for the Yankees for a decade with guys like Yogi Berra and Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris, and you also coached while you were playing for the Yankees, and one of those guys was Archie Manning. Have you written a book that you could just tell us all these stories about all these people that you've crossed paths with?
Oh, I have been asked that question 1,000 times. I just never got down to the point of writing a book. I have a lot of stories. I have a pretty good memory. I'm 83 years old. I enjoyed my career at Ole Miss and with the Yankees. I signed with the Yankees because of really the tradition we had at Ole Miss in baseball and football. It's nice to be a winner. And that's one of the reasons when I came along, it was a free agent. I could sign with anybody I wanted to. And there was a couple of clubs that offered me the same money, but I went with the Yankees because they was winners, they was tradition. And when you lie on the bed, at 12 years old, listening to the game of the day, you dream about playing in the big leagues. And it all came true.
What was it like to walk into that Yankees clubhouse back in the day?
You know, I get memorabilia every day, and one of the questions is they ask you sometimes, what's your favorite moment in sports? And you know what, it may be corny, but the greatest day I had was I walked into the Yankee locker room, and Mickey Mantle came over, and Ralph Hout came over, and Moose Gowan came over, Yogi came over, Quebec came over, Moose Cow, they came over and made me feel like I was one of them.
Wow.
And I said, I know then I chose the right club.
Yeah, that's amazing because they were
You cannot believe a young guy from Mississippi walking through the Yankee locker room and Mickey and Roger Maris and Whitey Ford and Nelson Howard, Bobby Richardson, Quebec, and go through the interviews, then go over to your locker and put on that Yankee pinstripe. And all of a sudden, you walk and you come out to the dugout and you stand and you look at the outfield.
And
you cannot believe it.
It's the museum, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's the museum, and they have the new Yankee Stadium. What were your thoughts when growth and money and stadiums are renovated and also just completely rebuilt? What were your thoughts when they changed and built the new one?
Well, I think probably a lot of people didn't agree with that, but you know what? I think it was time to do it. I know one year that we did not get a raise. They sent you a letter saying you're not going to get any raises because we spent $1 million refurbishing the Yankee Stadium. So anyway, I think it was a great deal, great old place to play. 280, 296 down the right field line, and you had those monuments and 461 feet center field. I mean, it was a great ballpark to play in. It had so much history there and tradition. And it was one of those deals that when you put the Yankee pinstripes on, people expected you to play well. That was part of putting on the pinstripes because they expected your fans expected you to perform to a certain level. And if you didn't do it, they let you know about it.
Mm-hmm.
But that day walking through the Yankee Stadium is far by far the best thing I've had.
I can't even imagine just to be able to be at any Major League Baseball park or put on the uniform as well. Jake Gibbs joins us, former Ole Miss quarterback. And again, there's some stories. I guess, do you still to this day just hate LSU because of some of the great memories, but also a couple of the ones that went against you?
We never hated LSU. It became a fierce rivalry. I got to be good friends with Billy Cannon through many years. We respected one another. My senior year at Ole Miss, we tied LSU 6-6. We had come off of a big win over at Arkansas, a 10-7 win with a field goal with 3 seconds left. And that ball game, that day at 6-6 ball game, did you realize we had one penalty the whole day and LSU was offside? Now just think about that. You got two teams that getting after one another, and you got one offside penalty whole game.
Lee,
I don't think you see that now.
No, no, not at all. In that 61 Sugar Bowl, you beat Rice in the game. What was your biggest memory about that game and how 14-6? It was a knockdown drag out there too.
Well, it was a tough ball game. We did not come down to New Orleans expecting to blow Rice out. We watched films, and we knew who they had played, and we knew the scores that they lost 3 games that year by a total of 5 points. We all knew that. We knew that we had our hands full, and we knew we had to play football to win the game. It was not that we took those guys for lightning, not by any means. And, of course, I was lucky to get the award. And I told those people that night at the banquet, it was probably one of the best games we ever played the whole year.
Jake Gibbs with us, former Ole Miss quarterback, a part of some classics in 1959 and 1960. Now, you guys won a national title in 1960. Was it the year before when you lost to LSU? Billy Cannon ran back a punt for a touchdown to beat you, but then you smoked them in the Sugar Bowl or in whatever bowl game it was. Was that when they didn't decide national champions based on bowl games?
I don't know how they went about. I don't know how they went about choosing number 1 to number 2. that was a hell of a game. We went down there number 3, and LSU was number 4. Number 1, they was 1 playing 3. And we kicked the field goal early in the first quarter, and we had 2 or 3 other opportunities. But Coach Ball decided to go try to score, and we passed up the field goal. And it became just a defensive struggle the whole night. Even when I punted the ball to Billy, I was trying to kick the damn thing out of bounds. But it hit about the 11-yard line and bounced straight up. He told Charlie Flowers in the Hula Bowl that year that he had no intention of catching that ball until it bounced so high. And, of course, they had a rule at LSU, anything inside the 15, don't touch it. So, anyway, that was all Billy Cannon doing. If you watch the film, like we have watched it 1,000 times, but by the time he caught it, we had 2 guys that hit him. He shook them off. He took another step, 2 guys hit him. And, of course, he did it all on his own the first 5-6 yards. Then he picked up some blockers. Then it was all over with.
And 89 yards later, and eventually that was his Heisman moment.
Yards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to coach. I coached baseball at Ole Miss for 19 years. We used to take my team at Baton Rouge, and we done there one year, and my team didn't know anything about the Billy Cannon run. We was playing. I was coaching third base, and over behind third base field, bleachers. Some guys here had a big old bandbox, and about the third inning, they cranked that thing up and said, "Give," and goes back to punt. Give. He missed the Cannon. Cannon runs over. Give. He scores. And my players are wondering what in the hell's going on. This is a baseball game. They didn't know the story. Anyway, it was a great rivalry. There was no hatred at all in those competitions. It was good, solid, fundamentalist sportsmanship football.
When you come to the Sugar Bowl and you're on your way to come watch Ole Miss play Baylor, and obviously we mentioned Ole Miss is trying to win 11 games for the first time. Baylor's trying to win 12 games for the first time, and you were a part of those bowl games. You're kind of that. You're part of that. A major part of the history. What does that mean to you? And then to come back down and it's Ole Miss in the Sugar Bowl again.
Well, it means a lot because back when we played, I hate to say that, but you only had like 4 major bowls plus the Gator Bowl, so a lot of teams did not have the opportunity to go to a bowl season back in those days. I mean, you had to be a pretty good outfit to come to the Sugar Bowl or the Orange Bowl, the Cotton or the Rose. And to have the opportunity, and the first, we had a team in here in 52, we got beat. We had a team in 2 years later and got beat again. So when Ray Brown run that putt back in the 58 Sugar Bowl, it opened up a new door for Ole Miss. We've had great success playing in the Sugar Bowl, and 9 times we're 6-3. But yeah, it brings back a lot of old memories. It brings back good memories because, it's just the way it was. You try to work hard and have a good year to go to a major bowl. And we had some good football players on that team. And there was probably a lot of good teams that didn't have the opportunity to go to a bowl.
Mm-hmm. Now there's so many of them. Jake, I was told by John Sutsbury, he's the media relations director for the Sugar Bowl, that you are going into the Sugar Bowl Hall of Fame this weekend. You're a part of it. You had your number retired when you were at an Ole Miss baseball game just a year or so ago. What does that? You're in the College Football Hall of Fame. Appeared in the Yankees Old Timers game, which has got to be just amazing. What does it mean to be a part of the Sugar Bowl Hall of Fame this weekend?
Well, I guess I'm just a lucky SOB. You got to be lucky and enjoy the time. I just happened to be around it, I guess, at a good time and play with good players. You cannot do it by yourself. You got to have a lot of help if you're ever going to get anywhere. That's where I've always looked at it. And I told Archie one time when he was a sophomore, I said, Archie, whatever you do, you're going to get a lot of publicity. Always brag on your linemen up front, because they're the ones going to make it. And that's been my whole theory about playing sports. You can't do it by yourself. You got to have a lot of help. You got to have a few breaks. But I think you got to just enjoy it. Enjoy the day and let it soak in and move on.
When you coached Archie Manning, you saw all of what he became, right? He had to play for some bad football teams with the Saints, but his sons have gone on to win Super Bowls. His grandson's one of the highest-rated recruits in the country. Your thoughts about just getting to know him as a player and eventually just watching him along the way?
Well, it's been a good relationship all this many years. I started working with quarterbacks at Ole Miss in '65, so he wanted me to come back. I just been home about 3 days from the Yankees, and I went up to watch practice, and he said, "What are you doing the rest of the fall?" I said, "Hell, Coach, I just got home." He said, "Would you come back and work my quarterback that year?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll be glad to hit you in the way I can." So I started in '65, and of course Archie came along in '67 as a freshman, and you still had a freshman football. So I had a chance to work with him as a freshman, and as a sophomore, you could really tell that, hey, this is something special here. You got something special to work with. He was tall, gaping, wiry built, skinny, but he could move his hips, he could move his feet, and he just had a knack. You could tell that he could have. Sometimes you can tell about a guy just the way he moves and the way he walks and the way he does things. He has a knack of doing things. So it was a pleasure to work with him. We never had a bad relationship. It was always good. I didn't try to force too many things on him because, hell, he probably was better than I was at that time. So I did work with him. We had a great relationship, and we have maintained a good relationship all these many years.
Jake, thank you. Congratulations on the Sugar Bowl Hall of Fame this weekend. Look forward. Hopefully get a chance to visit, see you at the game. Good luck to Ole Miss and Baylor. Thanks for your time, and be safe on the way in tomorrow.
Thank you. Appreciate it, buddy.
Yes, sir. Jake Gibbs, former Ole Miss quarterback, played with the Yankees. What a life. My God.
Okay, he coached Ole Miss to the College World Series in 1972, and they wound up in the losers bracket. Do you know who he lost to? He lost to Southern California and Rod
Dedow.
Yeah. And then he lost to Cliff Gustafson.
Wow.
So
two of the at the very, very highest of points.
His catching career with the Yankees was bookended by Yogi Berra and Thurman Munson.
Yeah.
I mean, he coached Archie Manning. His Venn diagram of who he's overlapped with is unbelievable. That's why I said, I'm sure a lot of people asked him to write a book. I mean, that just doesn't happen all that often. That's unbelievable.
No, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Just had somebody ask me about Pittsburgh playing without Kenny Pickett tonight. Of course, Craig, you mentioned South Carolina with Joyner going 9 for 9 for 160 yards, the wide receiver. I didn't realize this, but I think you brought this up. But South Carolina ran for 301 yards against North Carolina.
Wow, where'd we see that against North Carolina before?
Yep.
Losing to a non-quarterback in a bowl game.
Yeah,
just a few years ago.
The guy
don't know what that is about the Tar Heels and their defense,
Larry
but man,
Fedora
if you want to beat them in a bowl game, just play a non-quarterback at quarterback, and you'll probably win.
Hey, Jack said last night that 2 different Baylor offenses have gotten Larry Fedora fired.
Good dude, though.
True. That is true. I mean, that's kind of sucks, but
I mean, I think honestly, because he coached one more year at North Carolina after that. But when you lose a game like that, that's one of those things that makes the alumni and powers that be mad. Did we just lose a game to a team that couldn't even put shoulder pads on a quarterback tonight? They were all hurt.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Here's a random story. So the Mavericks signed Isaiah Thomas to a 10-day deal, right? And there's a lot of cancellations and postponements and things like that going on with the NBA right now. And they signed him to a 10-day deal, and he's already entered health and safety protocols before ever playing a game. So that will take him 5 days on his 10-day deal. So I guess the Mavs will get him all for 5 days and then maybe re-sign that. But, yeah, that's just pretty wild that you sign that and then you go straight into protocols.
Speaking of which, when we had Mac Rhodes on to start the show today on many things, and one of the things at the end he mentioned that once the bowl game, the weekend, and all that is cleared, then Dave Aranda, the contract, which has been something we've told you about, for 4 to 6 weeks, is going to be taken care of, focused on the game. That's great. No outside extraneous noise on anything else. He did say that they've done a really, really good job of containing whatever has been causing other problems, and you never know. You could sleep one night, wake up the next day, and it could be a problem. He did say that it's not as if we've not had some issues, because they have. Everybody has. Even those who have handled this about as fortunately or as well as you possibly can. But yeah, that's weird. I mean, the team, it's like Kyrie Irving. I mean, he's back, and then who knows? And when we come back, Paul Catalina's top 5 to close out the show on this Thursday from New Orleans at the Marriott Hotel.
The secret to living your best life is pizza, obviously. Golden crust made from scratch, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and the toppings, crispy Old World pepperoni, savory Italian sausage, bacon. That's called a dream team. Find everything you need to live your best life and more at Marco's Pizza. Owner Bob Mock has been delivering pizza since 2001 and is the proud owner of 4 locations in Waco, Belmead, China Spring, Woodway, and soon to be open in Robinson. Marco's. Pizza lovers get it.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
Parenting is full of surprises.
You never know what to expect.
So after our son was born, I called my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent to set up a life insurance policy in case something happened to me.
Sawyer is now 2.
And we'll soon have a sister. There's no one else I would trust with protecting my family.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8-year-old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Three Nations Brewing Company has 16 different beers on draft with a new beer every Friday. It also offers 2 air-conditioned tap rooms, a large indoor beer hall, a second-floor mezzanine offering a great overview of the brewing company and equipment and patio where you can relax under the shade. Plus, you can now experience the new Three Nations Beer Garden Grill on our shaded patio with socially distanced seating for your enjoyment. Grab a cold beer and enjoy a bite from our freshly prepared and delicious menu. Street tacos, quesadillas, freshly cooked burgers and dogs, and veggie burgers too. State Fair tornado fries, nachos, and so much more, all prepared and cooked on site. So come visit the award-winning Three Nations Brewing Company on East Vandergrift off I-35 in Carrollton.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. This is Paul Catalina's Top 5 at 5:55, presented by Champion Salon and Barber. To book your appointment, go to championsalonandbarber.com.
I was requested top 5 drinks in New Orleans, and I'll do that one tomorrow for Friday. But right now, 5 things to watch for in the Sugar Bowl, since that's what we're here to do. is to cover the Sugar Bowl. I thought I would do at least one Sugar Bowl related top 5 while we're here in the Crescent City. Number 5, can the Baylor defense keep Matt Corral in the well? I know he's a great passer, like Craig mentioned earlier, so it's not like that's the best thing to do, in that you're not going to make a bad thrower, make bad throws. He's a great passer. But I do think that for this defense and what we've seen, their best chance to keep Matt Corral off balance is to take away the explosive plays he can make in the running game.
That's interesting because today Ron Roberts said that they must put pressure on him. Yeah. And if you do and you miss, and that was something early in the year, remember they struggled with that. They did with Chandler Morris as well because they didn't really know much about him. So that's kind of a dicey thing. You let him go and he can hurt you. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's able to hurt you both ways. You can also get to him. I mean, he's been sacked in every game but the Arkansas game this year. Got sacked 5 times in the Tennessee game. But I did see, Levy said they're the healthiest they've been since, the start of the season. I would hope that Baylor's close to that, but they're clearly not because Blake Shapen's hurt and Christian Morgan's, not 100% or whatever he is, and we don't know about anybody else. Yeah, Estrada's in a boot, so, I mean, they're not as healthy as they were at the beginning of the season. But, he's going to be a major challenge, and if they get to him and they just go flying by Ole style, then he's probably going to break off a 30-yard run. Or avoid the rush and then, launch it downfield. So, yeah, it's imperative.
He has carried the ball, and again, a lot of times could be trying to escape, but he has 145 carries, more than any running back on the team. And he's not far from being their leading rusher. 11 rushing touchdowns. His longest run is 32 yards, but he gets you with those escape plays.
Yeah, I just, because he is a dual threat, if you can take away one of those, then you can keep him off balance. Number 4 is Gary Bohannon 100% with that hamstring. You'd like to think that he is, but hamstrings are a tricky thing. And thing to watch in the same thing, since Blake Shapen's not going to play, how ready will Kyron Drones be to play? And what will the offense look like if Kyron Drones has to play a longer stretch than a couple of snaps if Gary Bohannon goes out of the game?
Well, Sean Bell seems to have his quarterback room in pretty damn good shape, doesn't he?
That's true, but
sure.
I think it's more of not is Kyron Drones be ready to go in and do what he's asked to do. I just wonder more of what they're asking him to do if he has to go in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, they just better hope that they are able to protect him. I don't trust Kyron Drones going into the Sugar Bowl and winning the Ole Miss game for him. I just don't. I mean, we haven't seen anything to think that he would do that. Now, maybe that's part of the surprise is he's one of those great bowl stories if he has to come in, but hopefully he just doesn't have to because hopefully Gary is healthy and hopefully Gary plays well. If he's, throwing bad picks or not able to run around a lot, then, maybe you have to make a move. So, yeah, Kyron Drones needs to be ready to compete and, be ready to have his name called potentially.
Yeah, and then you go with the pecking order's a walk-on and the preferred walk-on on C.J. Rogers. But one thing about Drones, he's probably physically gifted more than anybody else in that room. But yet again, the last time he played was at Shadow Creek High School.
Yeah. Number 3, can the Ole Miss defense stop the Baylor running game?
And I know it took a couple of snaps, but I meant.
Yeah. Can the Ole Miss defense stop the Baylor running game? They were very susceptible to teams that run right at you at points during the year. And, it is a battle of conflicting styles, which we'll talk about in a second. But I think if Baylor's going to win this game, it's going to be because they, Abram Smith and Treston Ebner have big games, and Gary Bohannon, for that matter, have big games running the ball.
180-something yards a game they give up on the ground. They've given up a bunch of yards to certain teams. And again, that's with them like dictating the tempo a lot and still giving up a lot of rushing yards. So what happens if they aren't dictating the tempo or they fall behind and the team, in this case Baylor, has the lead and the ball? Do they then gash them even more if they get to that point?
If you look back at the A&M game, Isaiah Spiller and Devin A-Chain were having an okay night. The bigger thing was in those situations where Ole Miss made A&M have to pass, Zach Calzada was not having his best night.
Yeah.
And, I think that's maybe the most fair comparison offensively. I keep saying it to the thing. So to Ole Miss in that what they've seen. So we'll see. I wonder, again, because it is so conflicting styles in this game.
Yeah, be interesting to see. If they can't run the ball, they're going to lose this game and lose it badly. Period. I mean, if Abram Smith or whoever's a non-factor, they're not. Gary Bohannon is not going to throw them to a win. Mm-hmm. He's just not. He's not shown the ability to do that at all. So you run the football. If you can do that, you can win. If you can't run the football, you are not going to win this game. Bottom line. I mean, unless in the month that he's been out, that he's learned to be like a 500-yard-a-game passer, which would be a miracle, then, yeah, they have to have the running game going. If they don't have the running game going, that's just not who they are. They are a running football team. So, yeah, that's absolutely important.
Yeah. Number 2, and I asked Jeff Levy this earlier today if there was any extra sauce on this game, and he said all the sauce they needed was getting you 11 wins for the first time in program history and all that. And that was an answer that would have made his father-in-law blush, I'm sure, with pride. But
it's a smart answer.
It's a smart answer.
He's been ready for the question for months since they were going to play Baylor to start last year.
But look, you heard Phil Bennett yesterday. There is extra something on this. It may not be as big a deal as people may make out of it, but this means something to Jeff Levy because I don't think he would have come back to coaching this game if it didn't.
Hell no,
I mean, because you can go to Oklahoma and look, he's going to play them next year when he's at Oklahoma, but to get another shot to get a couple of shots in, believe me, the way that things went out the door for his particular individual family, there is extra sauce on this game.
Yeah, I remember some pretty damning tweets at the end of that run that came from Jeff Levy's wife, a.k.a. Art Briles' daughter. Mm-hmm. And you can understand where she would be upset. But I remember Texas Tech kicking their ass in the season finale when we were all thankful that the season was about to be over, even though we had a bowl game to cover. And that turned out to be a great thing. We talked about it earlier, the North Carolina win. But that season was
it was Boise State.
Boise's, okay, yeah. Yeah, because North Carolina was Briles' last game. But I remember how contentious that got. I remember her getting mad at me, and I'm like, what do I have to do with anything? Like, I'm not even talking about your man either. So, like, what are you even coming at me for? And I remember her comment about them already having jobs lined up as they're getting their ass kicked by Texas Tech and saying it as like a ha-ha towards Baylor fans. And I'll never forget that. I just remember thinking this is just to get us out of this world this season. So, yeah, I would imagine that there is a little bit of a motivation there, and he's got to play it cool and be professional about it because it wouldn't look good to be like, yeah, I want to kick their ass for Art and all that. I mean, he can't say that, but there's no way it doesn't matter to him more than most other games.
Yeah, and last, number 1, whose philosophy wins out? Who does it? Who's the one that gets it done? And, is it the up-tempo Ole Miss? Is it Baylor run game and defense? Is it, does this game, I wonder, sometimes you have two teams with conflicting styles, it sometimes winds up in the middle of each of them, and it kind of goes a weird way. And, how many times have we seen two teams with great defenses, play a 38-35 game all of a sudden just because the game went that way? This game has the potential to go a lot of different ways because of that, because you have, two different styles running at each other, and the explosion of the two of them might create a game that nobody's even ready for.
It might turn into an incredible game, and I think it's one of the better matchups. And not as good as Purdue, though, right now with Tennessee tied at 38. You could also get two high-scoring teams and end up with a 17-14 game.
See, I don't think that's going to happen here, though, with Ole Miss's offense. I mean, maybe for Baylor could score 17 or 14 points, and that wouldn't shock me, honestly. But, they're not going to hold Ole Miss to that. In my opinion, they're going to have to score way more than 17 points. And it doesn't have to be 40. It doesn't have to be 38. But it's going to have to be higher than 20, in my opinion, because as good as that defense is, those offenses are never held to 7 or 14 points. You get an automatic 28, if anything, that you have to live up to, it feels like, most of the time. So, yeah, they're going to have to be able to score some points for sure.
Right, no question
and
about it.
And it's not going to be, some defensive stalemate. I just don't foresee that, in my opinion.
Two quick chat rooms for Paul. I know we're out of time. Paul makes his sauce with the blood of the homeless in New Orleans.
I don't think so, Aaron.
I'm betting that Paul would rather drink hurricanes down on Bourbon Street than the blood of the homeless.
Yes,
that's from Chris.
That's true.
All right, Paul. Good stuff. Great stuff. Craig Smoak, Paul Catalina, Armstrong Sims, Jack McKenzie, as always. Get another night's sleep. Tonight's the media party. I have no idea what that means. But we appreciate you, those who watch, those who view, those who listen, whatever it might be, and of course our incredible sponsors. I'm David Smoak for everyone that's a part of everything we do from start to finish. Good night for now from New Orleans, Louisiana.